everybody, this is James.
Marco?
Nabil.
And Mikey.
Mikey's just laughing. But this is the Movie Pals Podcast, podcast number 190. Today is our annual best of, well, I guess top 10 films of the previous year. So this is the top 10 films of 2024. It's a breakdown, not all of our movies combined as a list. Every one of us has a top 10, just in case you're new here. We'll break it down.
We're unique. We're special individuals, and we like to share our thoughts on films if you've never been on this podcast before.
One of us is going to get blasted today.
I think all of us are.
This is a more... Well, let's jump into it, guys. Into the top 10 films of 2024. So the way that this works is we are going to go 10 to 2. We each have 2 honorable mentions, then we go into our number ones. Each round, let's say we'll call them rounds, I guess. This is we'll be discussing the films that we chose. So we'll do a breakdown of what the film is, where we saw it, when we saw it, what we enjoyed about it, why is it in our top 10, and maybe like a memorable moment from the film itself, or maybe from even the experience of watching the movie. Because sometimes I think movies not just the movie itself. I think sometimes the people you go with, or the people you see it with, or events surrounding it add to that top 10. I do want to ask you guys real quick, though, what were your thoughts on 2024 in film? Like, did you guys, was it enjoyable for you? Was there anything did it surprise you? We'll start with you, Nabil.
Well, honestly, I was a little bit disappointed by this year's film.
Well, not the first time Nabil said this.
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like there were a handful of solid movies, and obviously I've got a top 10 going over here. But I feel like the prestigious films, and I haven't seen all of them, but of the ones that I've seen, I don't feel like they were as strong as previous years. And
doesn't mean those always have to be in your top 10.
No, but I usually tend to feel like I can relate a bit more with those and feel with those stories, and I didn't, to be honest.
I tried watching Conclave last night. And
I know. I enjoyed it.
22 minutes in, I said, Marco's right. I'm going to bed. I was like struggling. I was like,
I called it.
Yeah, I feel that there was some good contenders for sure this year, but I don't know. I don't know if it's because of the directors or the actor strike or the writer strike. Maybe they delayed some of the other releases of some bigger films that are coming out. But I don't know. I just felt like the selection was as strong. The showing, at least, wasn't as strong this year as compared to other years.
Okay. What about you, Mikey?
I kind of agree. Not fully, but I do think there's a lot more smaller movies this year. I think a lot of them I enjoyed when I watched them, but I don't think I would go back to a lot of them and watch them again. So I enjoyed them. I think they're good movies. But
that's a lot of the Oscar films for me every year, by the way.
Yeah. But it feels like there's a lot of like smaller movies, like indie films and stuff like that are also in that. And normally I like the indie movies. I watch them a couple more times afterwards or something. I didn't really see a lot of movies that came out like on streaming, for instance, and I would go back and watch them. So I don't think they were as strong this year. Maybe there were just a lot more of this, medium movies, and that's why I'm not really feeling that way. But I do feel like there's not as many movies at the top. I didn't come out with that much. I mean, I was going through my movies of the year, and I think I had like 15 on my short list.
Oh wow! Okay.
Going through, so it just I was like, I liked these movies, but I wouldn't really recommend them to somebody as much as I would some of these other ones. So
maybe we'll rekindle something with you throughout this list. What about you, Marco?
I want to say I partially agree with these guys, but I think a lot of it has to do with me and how there were a lot of movies that I missed out on this year that I didn't get a chance to see. Made my list a lot easier, though. I think I had about maybe 20, 25 movies on my list. Made it pretty easy for me to select which were my top 10 and which ones were going to be probably some honorable mentions and some that just didn't make the cut, and some included recent watches as well too. I think I watched like 3 movies this last week to try to make up my list and finalize it.
Yeah, sometimes I get that recency bias in past years, and this year not so much. So
same.
I really took a lot of time picking my list this year. I actually disagree with you guys. I thought this year was fantastic for movies. I think this is one of the best years in the last couple of years, quite honestly. especially theatrical wise. I know Mikey said streaming wise, but fortunately for me, I guess I don't watch a lot of the streaming stuff until you guys like recommend it to me, and then I'll jump in and usually check them out. But I had some pretty crazy events happen to me, so maybe I was a bit more selective too. I saw about 100 less movies than I did last year, and honestly, I stayed away from a lot of the indie films this year. I just didn't feel like watching them. I had like less time to do things, and I just kind of chose movies that I just wanted to kind of like I actively wanted to see. I wasn't just going to go check out movies because like, oh, I heard this indie film's really good. I'm like, oh, I'll catch it on the Oscar watches, you know.
You didn't go see a movie that's only showing like three theaters around the country.
Well, we did see a couple of those.
Well, I mean, we saw Journey number 2, I guess, but I wanted to see that. So it's one of those things where I always have in the past I've tried to like sneak them all in so that my Oscar list is even smaller. But this year I just didn't care. I guess
I did have to say like there was movies last year or weeks last year where we didn't go to the movies.
Yeah.
And me and James go to see like 99% of these movies together normally.
Yeah.
And there were weeks where we just didn't go. So and that hasn't really happened in the past that much. So
yeah, because I would just tell Mikey, so you want to see anything? I'm like, dude, truthfully, not really. I just want to stay home. Something like that. Yeah, it would happen. It was like, you know, like, I'm okay. I'm just gonna see. Like, I thought it was a very strong year for horror films. So
that I would agree with. Yeah,
I know why he didn't go to the movies.
Yeah. So there's
want to be RoboCop. I get it.
Yeah. Yeah, a few times.
I'm in the same boat.
I'm real close. I'm like, I gotta stop this stuff from happening. Okay, it's up to me. Goddamn, Detroit needs me. So let's get into it then. We're gonna start with our number 10 picks, and we're gonna start first with Nabil. Nabil, what was your number 10 pick of 2024?
Yeah, my number 10 film was Speak No Evil.
Do you even have any neighbors?
Agnes, love, you have to eat your vegetables. Like we don't chew with our mouths open.
Please, could you stop telling my daughter what to do?
You don't criticize other people's children. You should say sorry.
It's okay.
I'm sorry, Louise.
Louise, is there anything you'd like to say?
Ah, look at that. So when did you see it? You saw it for the podcast, I'm assuming.
I did. I saw it on the 12th in September. So that week. And
you gotta tell a specific date, but that's fine.
I realized I said it specifically.
That's kind of psycho shit, but okay.
But yeah, I came out on the release date. We saw it in the theaters.
7 p.m. release time. I said 7:30. H1, H2. It was.
I have the dates on all mine too, Nabil.
Oh my god!
I ordered pizza and some popcorn. It was great.
Okay, so what about it? Speak no. By the way, I do want to ask. We're gonna, like I said, this is free flowing. The floor is open for you guys to jump in, make it silly goose time, really. But did you ever watch the original? Did you catch the original?
No, I didn't even realize there was an original.
Yeah, we talked about it. Yeah. It's based on a Danish.
Yeah. The Danish one. Yes, I do record that. I'm sorry. No, I did not see the original one.
I ended up seeing it, man. That movie is depressing.
The original one, comparatively?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. I went and I saw it about a month or two after we reviewed the original, or the remake, sorry. But why did that make your list?
You know, I want to say McAvoy's performance was a big thing that just kind of kept me remembering this film. But there was a particular scene in the film that I always kind of remember that really just made me cringe. If you guys recall the scene where the son is dancing with Mackenzie Davis's daughter, and how angry McAvoy.
They're doing what, Cotton Eye Joe or something like that?
Yeah, Cotton Eye Joe, and just like how intense the anger just kept flaring up, and then the awkwardness of like him essentially, you know, berating his child, and everything just kind of got weird. That was like the scene for me in the film, saying, "Okay, this is like peak weird, awkward, and scary all at the same time."
Dude, I thought it was me for a second. I know. I was like, get the fucking dance right, you fucking idiot.
Fucking, you know, couldn't do it. The kid couldn't do it.
Okay,
yeah, but I think that's really it was McAvoy. I think that really just made the film what it was, and as enjoyable as it was for me to remember it.
Yeah, it was definitely one of those movies I remember that was better than I thought it was going to be. Because I want to say we'd been seeing trailers for that movie forever.
Yeah, it was a long time on that one.
Yeah.
That was the one like
Long
movie.
time.
You're like, look at this. Speak no evil. They're revealing 90% of the goddamn plot again. Okay. So,
I
okay.
do have to say it's got a really good payoff at the end though. Like the last like 15, 20 minutes. I think that's like for me at least, that was like the strongest part of the movie. So
No, that's
it's
yeah, and the ending is a much happier ending than the original film. Dude, the original film, I'm gonna tell you right now, fuck it. You had time. The parents get killed in the original one, and it's just like
so sad.
it's just like it's a bleak ending. And I seriously was watching that. I was like, well, my Shutter thing ends in a couple of days. I guess that's it. I guess I was like, oh my god, dude. But I see why they changed it.
Yeah.
I think American Audiences we like a resolution to it all. Okay, cool. So, Mikey, what was your number 10 pick of 2024?
my 2024, my 10th pick is Bike Riders.
Charge. I'm Johnny. We're the Mad Dogs. I'm Ben. I like you guys.
Your boyfriends are getting into trouble.
Shit. What the hell were you thinking back there?
Nothing. I saw you squaring off with them guys. What do I need to think for?
Yeah, you and me, kid.
Nice. And I believe, once again, another movie you reviewed for the podcast, right?
It is. We actually saw this one on a mystery movie, though. We saw this one.
Oh, we
early.
did.
Yeah, it's a little different than some of the other theatrical releases we saw.
I forgot about this one. Yeah, we saw it on a Monday. That was a rough week for me, too. Yes.
Oh, yeah, it was, yeah.
Yeah. What stood out for this film? Why is this in your top 10?
I just like Tom Hardy. I mean, the whole cast did a good job. The performances were top notch all across the board, in my opinion, but especially Tom Hardy. And there was a few surprises in the story that I just thought was like just fun to watch. Like there's this fight they're having a picnic, and there's just like random fight that happens and breaks out, and then it just randomly stops and they go have beers together. Like it just, they had some crazy stuff that happened throughout that.
They're just bros, man. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So, but I thought it was like a really authentic view into like these kind of these bike riders, these motorcycle clubs. At least I don't know how they really are, but to me it felt real. And so I just liked the way it kind of came off here, and it was a little different movie, something to me a little original. I'd never really seen something that's kind of like this. This format was a little different. So I just overall just really liked everything that kind of came out of the movie. Just everything was like nice and buttoned up, and the ending's kind of shocking still too. So it's just overall just a really nice movie.
Yeah, it's weird that Tom Hardy goes from something like this and then he's like, and now I'll do Venom 3.
Why would we do that?
He does the art and he gets the money. He's got to do both, He's artistic and he makes money.
Yeah, I mean, he's a scene stealer in this one. Austin Butler's really good too.
Yeah.
So
He's still Elvis too, so it's great.
Yeah, Elvis.
yeah, well,
Elvis riding a bike. Right?
Elvis, the spirit of Elvis came back to star in 2024's The Bike Riders. Nice pick though. What is your pick, Marco, for number 10?
My number 10 pick for 2024 is Transformers 1.
I know we're just lowly worker bots who can't even transform. Don't you want to see what's out there? There's a reason no one goes to the surface. It's dangerous. Why'd you bring jetpacks?
Oh, nice. And we did not review this one. So when did you see this one?
I saw this one at Brandon Theaters September 21st, and I went to take.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I have the dates for all these, dude.
You can just be like, not in theaters in September. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some of these have the same month in them, so I just thought I'd be a little specific.
That's fine. I know.
I'm telling you right now, I'm not a psycho that has the specific dates. I'm just letting you know right now. I'm good. I'm just.
It was on the outline. I was
dates.
following directions to the letter.
I had on my dates, but then I changed it to like I saw it in late April or mid July. But yeah,
late September.
What did you enjoy about Transformers 1?
First off, the experience. I went to go see it with my son, who had been hounding me for weeks that he wanted to go see this movie. This is one of the ones that he was really looking forward to. And I think besides this Transformers movie, we'd only really seen one other one in theaters. So this is kind of like a really great experience to, go and see a Transformers movie, even though it was animated in theaters. I think the animation in the movie was really great. The voice acting was great, and it was an interesting origin story between Megatron and Optimus Prime, and the message of just being wary of your idols and how you perceive them, and the whole worker solidarity between all the Transformers. I think like showing them united is rather than being like all separate. I think held a pretty strong message and a positive one, especially for young kids. So the action was really good as well too. Like it's just very memorable for me. You know, I know the trailers probably didn't sell it, and I didn't really expect for it to be this good for me, but I was pleasantly surprised when I saw it.
Yeah. What was the most memorable thing seen from it, or like from the viewing experience itself?
I think the most memorable scene for me really was Megatron's fight at the end and his final turn. I guess that the thing that really sets him over the edge. It's really kind of like jarring, and it has like the consequences really do pay off. And I think it was filmed very well and performed excellent, and the movie sets it up really well. So that's really what stood out for me. And I was like, okay, this is kind of selling it for me.
Did Zan like it?
He loved it. Nice. He would not. He has some of the toys from the movie because like he loved it that much.
I think it did really well with like the kids. Unfortunately, not a lot of people saw the movie. It did not do well. And honestly, for me, it was a miss on my end. I saw this one with Mikey. I think I fell asleep during it. I'm not gonna lie to you. I did.
I think it has a little bit of
transform now.
I think it had a little bit of identity crisis though. Like I think it was like made for kids, but then they did the callbacks for like the adults. So I can kind of see how some people would say it's a mix, but overall it's pretty good. Yeah, I think
you guys mentioned it on the
because I was like, I'm not sure who it's for exactly.
Yeah.
It's almost like it was trying to bridge those two things together. For me, it worked primarily because my son and I have seen some of the older cartoons and we've seen the older movie. So he got a lot of those references and we were able to kind of point those out to each other. So I think if you're not really familiar with some of the old school Transformers leading up to this, then it's probably going to go over your head and it's not going to probably go as well. What about you, BDJ? What's your number 10 pick for 2024?
My number 10 pick is Deadpool versus Wolverine.
Ooh.
It's probably higher up for you guys, but for me, I mean, you know, can't have a Marvel film up that high. No, pleasantly surprised. I had a lot of fun. It was very reminiscent of the last Spider-Man film for me with just the amount of cameos, I think. It was a lot of fun. I saw this in theaters with Mikey. I just had fun. It's a continuation. It was nice to see that Ryan Reynolds got to, I don't know if he's ever going to do Deadpool again. You know, there's all stuff going on, but it seems like it was a good send-off. It was nice seeing Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine, putting them into the MCU. It's just, it was funny. Lots of good action. It looked really good. It's just one of those things that just worked for me on like a having fun point. Turn my mind off, just watch a superhero film. Yeah, it's a definite popcorn film. It's the plot itself is pretty ridiculous. It's not too heavy. It's just one of those things where like it's cool. You see,
it's simple, but it works, right?
Yeah, exactly.
For the most part. Yeah.
The scene that stands out to me still is that beginning scene with the NSYNC song playing and just
it is highlight. Yeah.
Just fucking using the carcass of Logan, basically, right, to kill the TVA agents and all this stuff. So, yeah, that's
what were you wearing when you saw it? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, he's like
he was full Sabretooth cosplay.
What shoes were you wearing?
That's my brother.
As a one piece too. Run on, man. That's a solid pick.
Yeah, no, definitely. Let's move on now to our number 9 pick, presented by Nabil.
All right, going on to number 9. Let's go with you, Mikey. What was your number 9 pick for last year?
My number 9 was Deadpool and Wolverine.
Aha!
I wonder where you saw it. That's why he's like, I'll be quiet. I'm coming up.
Yeah, like James said, we saw it together opening weekend at the end of July. And yeah, I kind of echo most of the stuff he said there. I think Reynolds and Jackman have really good charisma together. They kind of shine together. All their scenes are pretty much there. And I just have to say, I was like going crazy when Gambit was on the screen. Like it's the first real Gambit action we got to see, right? And
I know
he
was in fucking Wolverine Origins, bro.
No,
what the fuck are you talking about, Mikey?
Tyler Kirsch.
But it's just a really fun movie. I saw this twice in the theater. I watched it a couple of times after it came on streaming. It's just a really fun movie. And you could pretty much just toss this on and just enjoy it pretty much any time.
Very cool.
Good stuff.
Yeah, let's go to you, Marco. What was your number 9 pick?
My number 9 pick is Wicked. Look at that.
All right.
I saw this at Edwards. I actually saw this with James and Mikey and my son. We saw an early Amazon Prime screening.
Yeah, we had to pay $20 fucking to see this fucking thing.
Yeah.
Oh, was it like a special screening?
Yeah, it was. We saw it like earlier in the week than it came out, like 5 days.
I think it was Monday, right? Was it Monday?
Yeah, it was a Monday one.
Yeah.
I only remember because we were going to see a mystery movie, and then I was like, "Want to go see Wicked instead, Mikey?"
And the mystery movie was the other movie that came out that week.
Yeah, it was Gladiator 2. I was like, "Fuck."
Yeah.
But this was quite a surprise for me. I was not looking forward to watching this movie, I'll be honest. But it actually ended up winning my heart. I was like, holy shit, this movie's actually pretty good. It's pretty solid. I never seen the play or knew exactly what the plot was. I mean, I know the gist of it, right? It's
like,
how the evil.
Who the hell is the Wizard of Oz?
How the evil Witch of the West becomes evil, but it's like, is that really necessary? And it comes to find out for this movie, it is pretty necessary, and it does really explain things. And again, it points out, things aren't always what they seem. There's always a different point of view, and it kind of builds off that saying that everyone is a villain to someone, at some point. And it shows that, it's not always the intention of that person to be a villain or become that, but certain things happen and occurrences doesn't always mean it's okay for them to turn into villains, but seeing the reasons why and the steps leading up to it really helped sell the movie for me, as well as the musical numbers, man. Some of those freaking choreographed numbers were great, dude. There's one in the bookstore, which is the one that really stood out for me.
Yeah.
There's like a whole bunch of stuff going on, and it's just like filmed so well. I was just like, holy shit, this is actually pretty fucking good. And it was a great experience, seeing it with the guys, even though we were a few seats, separated, because it
was packed.
Yeah.
And we didn't get to hear you guys.
You couldn't even sit next to each other.
I just thought about it because you guys, this is the one me and fucking Mikey did by ourselves.
Yeah,
I
had a stomach issue on this one. My stomach.
Yeah, we didn't sit. It was packed. It was hard to get seats.
Yeah,
but movies are dead, supposedly. So.
You heard it here, folks. Marco actually has a heart after seeing this film, so he discovered that for everybody.
Oh man!
All right, let's jump to you, James. What was your number 9 pick?
My number 9 pick was Civil War. So A24 this year really started jumping into a lot of like bigger movies. This is their first IMAX release.
Yeah.
I went and saw this. I want to say this came out late April. Saw this in theaters with Mikey. Saw the little IMAX release of it, and I enjoyed it because I haven't enjoyed a lot of Alex Garland stuff lately. I thought his last few movies were really heavy-handed, especially Men. I couldn't stand Men.
It's just don't fucking preach to me, damn it.
Yeah, I was like, I get it. We're dirtbags. Marco's my friend. I fucking get it. Like, Jesus Christ. I don't need you to fucking make a whole movie about it coming out of a woman.
James playing 20 different characters in the movie.
Yeah, the guy's like, hey, look at me. I'm bad. But Civil War was great. I thought it was shot well. The sound was amazing. This is probably the first one this year that just blew my fucking eardrums out. Kristen Dunst was great. Kaylee Spaney, I still can't praise her enough in this film. She's great. I really feel like she should have been in the Last of Us show. She would have been perfect, Ellie. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Well, when I saw her too, I was like, that's definitely Ellie. Like, what are we doing here, guys?
Yeah, I thought it was great. It shows you just how crazy things can get. It was very, it's still a little heavy-handed with the message, but I didn't mind it. I even went out and bought this one physically. That's how much I liked it. So,
was there a scene that really spoke to you?
I think the scene where Kaylee Spaney is almost. There's a few actually. The scene where she walks up to the container and finds like the bodies. I think is the first kind of wake up call for her, and that's the one that kind of resonates because she's so innocent in the beginning. She just wants to do really well, taking photo. I mean, it's a war photographer, right? And
she wants to be
I thought it was going to be the Meth Damon scene.
That one's good, but everyone sees that one, I guess. So that's the one. That one stands out too, or the ending scene. Quite honestly, in the White House, I think is also the scene where it's just tense. Like chef's kiss. So it's shot so well, and I liked how Kristen Dunst's character is like the complete opposite of like this is like what it does to you. She's just so like life is gone. Yeah. Life is gone from her. She's still looking. She has a little heart of gold, just like Nabil, though, where she's like, I'm gonna watch out for her. I'm gonna watch out for this little girl and make sure she makes it through. But that whole group it's shot so well too. It just looks really good. So that's my number 9 pick. Nabil, what is your number 9 pick?
Funnily enough, it's also Civil War.
Is it? Nice. Look at us. We linked up.
Ooh, twinsies.
Yeah. It's for the same reasons. I saw it in the theater as it was released, and everything you said is exactly how I feel about it. I'll also add to, I really just liked the idea of the story being from the point of view of a photojournalist, rather than talking about, an easy thing about just talking about the Civil War as a whole. Like, you're really just going into the trenches with them throughout the whole thing, and that the cinematography, like you were saying, that's what makes it, is because you're going through their point of view, getting those special shots of them being in the middle of the action and watching them do what they need to do to get their shots, while also, showing you just enough of feeling like you're in there, so that's
it doesn't tell you everything to the point. It's just like it really jumps in near the end of it, right? Quite honestly, but
yeah, that's when you really kind of feel that you're just a part of it, a part of the war aspect of it, rather than being an outside viewer, is that ending scene. Because the journalists are in it, right? They're actually in it in that point. Trying to be at the front lines to get that perfect shot of the president. And, the scene that stood out for me really was, I'll go back to the Jesse Plemons part where they were meeting the journalist for the first time. And really not like the part where they meet him, but it was just a shock of how they exited, like escaped from that situation.
Oh, it's wild. Yeah, it's wild.
Like, it just, something suddenly happens, and I feel like it's worth not spoiling to let people get an opportunity.
Bill's been in
to
that
see
situation.
Yeah,
but he's been the Jesse Plemons character.
Yeah, exactly.
With the red sunglasses too. Like, people just feel really weird. They're like, this guy ain't all here, man.
What kind of American are you?
He's like, what do you mean?
What part of Missouri are you from?
Yeah, but it was a very just interesting and unique film, and for A24, solid, foray into a kind of a blockbuster hit for them, for the size of their studio. So,
yeah, no, definitely, you can tell they spent a lot of money in this movie.
Yeah.
So, let's move on now to our pick number 8, presented by Mikey.
All right, let's start our round with Marco. What is your number 8 pick?
My number 8 pick for 2024 is Deadpool and Wolverine.
I'm gonna need you to come with me right now.
Look, lady, I'm not interested.
All right, well, I'm sort of on the tick, so upsy daisy. Here we go.
Oh, whiskey dick of the claws. It's quite common in Wolverines over 40.
You don't want this.
Unless you want to take a deep breath through your fucking forehead, I suggest you reconsider.
Oh, and when did you see this?
Oh, I saw this one at Brendan. No, I'm just kidding. No, I saw Deadpool and Wolverine July 25th, actually, at Brendan.
Actually, I just realized I've been saying a verse Wolverine. It's Anne. My God, that's how much I liked it, right?
Yeah, but I saw it in theaters, obviously, and yeah, just what everyone has said so far. It's a fun movie. It feels like, Marvel, is back on its feet with this movie.
Yeah,
let's not give him too much.
Don't get ahead of yourself. Yeah, like, slow down, buddy.
Like,
you didn't see what?
No. Don't get me wrong. They still have quite a ways to go, but this movie felt like the Marvel of the earlier phases of the Infinity War saga. It felt like
I think it's almost because they're making fun of it too.
The self-awareness of it helps, but I think it's also because it feels like Ryan Reynolds really carried this movie, and it was the beacon of this movie that he wanted to make this happen. It seemed like he got almost everything he wanted for this movie to happen, and that's why it was great. Like, it felt like the artists actually had their creative freedom to make it good. It's not just the member berries or the Easter eggs that they had in there. Those were secondary, and I know, unfortunately, future movies are probably not going to learn that lesson, and they're going to put those first. But this movie had the formula right.
Yeah, they liked it before twice now, so
yeah. I saw it with my son also. Like, he's a big Deadpool fan, and we couldn't really watch the first one, but we did see like the censored version of the second one with Fred Savage being replaying Princess Bride scene of being read to. Yeah, so he enjoyed that, and then we went to go see this one, and he loved the movie. It's one of his favorite movies too. So that experience also helped. And for me, the most memorable moment of the movie was really the fight in the forest where Deadpool and Wolverine are just beating the shit out of each other in the car. And Wolverine, like right before it starts, he tells him that he couldn't even make a relationship with a stripper work, and that line had me dying for days. I could like the way it pissed off Deadpool when he said that, I think like made the movie for me. But yeah, it's a fun movie.
Yeah, definitely. James, how about you? What's your number 8?
My number 8 pick is Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Nice. When did you see this one?
I saw this one, I believe, once again with you, also in mid-May. Saw it in IMAX, and I really like this movie. I really like the Planet of the Apes films, the reboot saga. For the most part, I guess is what you would call them, or is it right? Who knows yet?
It's the reboot of the reboot.
Yeah, kind of right, or the remake. I guess I don't know.
Remake, yeah.
And
it's probably just a continuation, right? Because it's like
yeah,
they had like
I liked
9
it
movies
because
before.
I had watched all the movies with my parents leading up to it because they had never seen them, and I think when I saw this movie too, is right before like everything came crashing down for me, quite honestly. So it's like that last movie I saw, I think, in theaters, and it's just it was I had fun. It's not as solid. We talked about it in our reviews. It's not like the greatest one out of the 4. But I think it's the start of a new trilogy that I'm really looking forward to. I think Owen Teague as Noah was great. It's insane how much emotion you get from these people doing this motion capturing for the most part. And I liked how it's a new story of like a hero's journey where it's someone starting out. It's talking about, there's like the whole distrust with Freya Allen's character of May. And I like where it's going. It got me really excited to see more. I wanted more, if anything, if that makes sense, out of this too. And the thing that was most memorable for me is this last scene when Noah finally steps into like what his true destiny is. I thought that was beautiful with the birds and the eagles and showing up to Proximus, like that he is the true like heir to Caesar. I thought that was great. I saw it twice, so I really, really enjoyed it. It was one of those movies where, like I said, it's if anything, I feel like the future ones, just like the other ones, will make this one even better. So it's my number 8 pick.
Nice. Yeah, great pick. Yeah, I liked it a lot, and I just love the Caesar ones too. Like just bringing that.
Yeah, no, it's great. Yeah. So. Monkeys strong together. Yeah.
Ape strung together. Bill, what's your number 8 pick?
All right, my number 8 pick is probably something that's not on everybody's list here. That is Babes.
I am a pregnant person.
Girl, it's wild. I have a baby dick inside of me.
The random vagina waters. It's not piss, it's not sweat, it's just like salad dressing. I don't know if you're giving me Little Kim or Rachel Dolezal, but I'm here for it.
Excuse me, what?
Wait, what's that?
So I saw this in June when it came out in theaters.
Is this a real movie?
It's a real movie, starring Elena Glazer and Michelle Buteau. It's basically about these 2 best friends, and one of them surprisingly finds out she's pregnant and decides to keep the baby. And it's a whole journey of this Elena Glazer specifically trying to cope with being a mother or working towards it after changing up her life. But what's interesting to me about this film is that, first of all, it's really funny, but I really also related to the story because the character Michelle Buteau, she is on a fertility or went through a fertility journey, and that's something that I'm going through right now with my wife on trying to have a baby, and it kind of talks a lot about the struggle she had to have a kid. And the comparison with her best friend, Elena Glazer's character, and how it was just easy for her to have a kid by chance, and it's just taken for granted, essentially. And there was a lot of that conversation throughout the film. And that was while my wife and I were kind of already in the middle of the journey and some of the struggles we've been going through. So it was funny. It added a very great comedic perspective on what women have to go through for pregnancy and different aspects of the life, depending on where they are, how easy it is for them to get pregnant or how not. But also, like I said, I really just connected with it because of what I've been going through with it right now, and that's one of the. I know I said a lot of films didn't really relate. I didn't feel related to. This one was the one that I kind of felt the most connected to as far as an indie film that came out in the year.
Well, now I can't even make fun of you about it, so I guess cool.
Yeah,
Thanks for
you're
being
new now, Nabil.
Jesus, I mean, I was gonna be like, is this the Hobbs and Shaw pick? But no, not quite, I guess. Okay.
Well, you actually made me want to see it just because my brother went through that same thing for their first kid. So it's kind of like I kind of want to check it out now, just kind of see, how the journey went for them.
I mean, again, it is a funny film too. Elena Glazer's hilarious in this, and I've never even heard of Michelle Buteau until I saw her in this film, and I was like, I've started watching. She has a stand-up special on Netflix, and I think she's hilarious too. So definitely, just if you're interested in different comics that you haven't been exposed to, just watching these two are on the screen worked really well.
Random pick, but I mean, hey, that's what this is for. Not all of us, like, we're not gonna have the same stuff. Unless, I mean, Mikey comes out and is just like, mine's wicked.
I just watched it right now.
Civil War.
And so, Mikey, what about you? What was your number 8 pick?
Well, my number 8 pick was actually Babes. No, I'm just playing.
I was like, oh, okay.
Oh my God. I believe it. I was like, damn, he really faked us out.
Oh, shit.
I was like, damn.
That's a good one, Mikey.
No, it actually was The Wild Robot.
Okay.
Nice.
Interesting.
I saw this in early October, and I saw it with like pretty much my whole family. They were down just visiting. So, and I don't get to go to the movies with my whole family very often. I go with my parents every once in a while, but I rarely go with my sisters and their kids. And it was just a nice experience and a nice movie. This movie is fantastic. The story is pretty straightforward, but just what they do with it and the messages of like love and family, parenthood. I mean, they do a lot of stuff with this movie that I thought was really good. And the animation is just beautiful, and it's crazy. And then
the watercolor effect, it looks really nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a great movie overall. And there was a couple scenes where I just looked over at my mom and my sister, and they were just like bawling. There's a monologue by a fox.
This is the reason why I took so long to watch this movie, by the way. Yeah. Because I this whole year I was like, I don't want to watch sad shit. Basically, after fucking like June, right? And then Mikey's like, it's pretty sad.
Well, I mean, from my perspective, it was sad. Like, I was but
then I had to go in it like a hard ass motherfucker. I was like, man, I don't give a fuck about this goddamn robot and this goose. I was like, I'm tough. But there's a scene near the end though. I was like, shit, in a little bit. I was like, fuck, almost got me there. Fuck.
Yeah, there's a speech about friendship that really kind of hits you good, and to me, this is one of the best animated movies I've seen in a very long time, if not ever. So,
damn, the Golden Globes were like, nope.
Yeah, let me give you a story about Cats.
Not today.
Apparently, Flow is amazing. I just didn't see it.
Really
I've heard it. Yeah, so I'm like, God, here's another goddamn.
I already knew it was going to be in the Oscars. I was like, I'll wait for this.
I heard the Memoirs of Snail is actually pretty good too. So
yeah, that looks weird though, Mike. I'm not sure weird shit. Let's move on now to our pick number 7, presented by Marco.
All right, and looks like we're going to start off here with our MC James. What is your number 7 pick of 2024?
My number 7 pick is Nosferatu, actually. I just brought it up, didn't I?
That was planned. Got to be planned.
No, you're actually dressed like Dracula right now.
I have the mustache, Mikey, just like Count Orlok. Look at me.
Over your lip? That's weird.
Yeah, why does he look so strange? Why don't the ladies love him? Damn. I saw it the day after Christmas with Mikey. We actually went and saw this in the IMAX theater, the Esquire, in not San Francisco, in Sacramento. Ooh. So, because Mufasa had taken all the IMAX spots, so we went and saw it at 9:00 at night.
Oh, wow. Showing too, huh?
Yeah, I'm telling you right now, can't do those anymore, guys. A little hard, especially in a packed theater.
It was full too.
It was packed. I have one IMAX screening a day, and that we're like only way to see it. And I heard to see it in the biggest screen possible. And truthfully, I really liked it. I've seen the silent film. I've seen the 1979 or late 78, 79 remake. No, I think it's just the way that it's just shot is so well. That's what really got me to it. The performances on top of that as well. I think, I don't know, the last movie that Robert Eggers did as well was The Northman, right? And I really liked The Northman. That was in my top 10 like 2 years back or so. And that one unfortunately came out at a weird time during COVID still, and it wasn't viewed by many people, or it didn't do as well. But I'm glad to say that Nosferatu hits every mark of it, where it's a really good retelling of the story. It's basically Dracula, right, with a bit of a twist. This is like the side the unauthorized version of Dracula, right?
He's more
Exactly,
flamboyant.
Dracula.
Yeah. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But did you feel, James, like my wife and I both looked at it and said that it's the perfect rendition of the Dracula story from Bram Stoker's Dracula. So I don't know if you felt that way, but when we watched it, I was like, this is basically that story, and I think it's done well.
No, I still got to give it a Coppola.
Really?
Yep. Nostalgia.
Yeah, I guess it's
It's a nostalgia. Yep, it's nostalgia too.
Well, what's your most memorable moment from Nosferatu then?
I would say it is Thomas's first meeting with Count Orlok. I think it's really well done. It's such like a fever dream of just meeting the guy, and then all these things that are happening. Like, just like the Gary Oldman scene with Keanu. What the hell?
Oh, damn.
I thought it was great though. I thought it was there's a few, man. There's a couple of scenes with him. Aaron Taylor Johnson's character Frederick has a few scenes that's really kind of show up too. It is just really well done throughout. And as a horror fan, it like I said, it hit all the marks. We saw it, like I said, we didn't get out till about 11 o'clock at night. While I think it still runs a little long, I'll say that much. It's not perfect. We didn't get to talk about it. I still really enjoyed the overall performance. Like at the end of it all, outside of having like the sweatiest back in the world, it was just one of those things where I was like, I had fun with this. And not to mention like that screen almost adds to it, man. It's the same screen you went and saw Oppenheimer at, and it's 7 stories tall. So I mean, like, fuck,
I saw Oppenheimer at that one too.
Yeah. So like,
really
imagine
nice
Nosferatu on that, and it's insane that Bill Skarsgård is Count Orlok, by the way, because you can't even tell. Robert Eggers is so into doing these things where it's just like period accurate, right? Where there's like there's quotes they say that are just sound ridiculous, right? But it's like, oh, that's what they would have said back in the fucking 1500s or some shit. I'm like, okay, I mean, that's weird, but yeah, it's really good. That's my number 7 pick.
Right on, man. Good stuff. Nabil, what is your number 7 pick, and tell me why it's Carry On.
My number 7 pick was Alien Romulus. I saw this in theaters, of course. We talked about it on the pod. And honestly, the film to me was just Aliens back to form. It was what I wanted it to be. I know Ridley Scott did his Prometheus series, and I enjoyed them, but this film was what Aliens is, an alien. You know, like that's it was about the xenomorph. It's about these people up in space. It was, it was a great time. So, I don't, there's not much that I need to add to it because you can store a pod on it. But I will add that like one of my favorite scenes was where they were kind of walking quietly across the hall from, those facehuggers over there, where they had to kind of like try to not leave them and get chased by it.
When the guy just farts. Like, oh shit. No.
I mean, that was a tense scene throughout the whole thing. And then where basically at the end, he's just basically being left by David Johnson's cyborg, whatever thing. He was just saying, you were going to leave me there. He's like, but it was a calculated risk and you made it. So, I didn't leave you. I was like, God damn.
I'm white.
Douchebag.
So, yeah, it was a great horror film. And just great to see Aliens again, the way it was done, back in the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
Good stuff, man. Solid pick, Nabil. Now we move on to Mikey. What is your number 7 pick of 2024, man?
My number 7 is Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
I will find them. I will bring them home.
To survive, remember your strength.
Nice.
Oh.
As James already mentioned, we saw this together early May. So
Holding hands.
Holding hands.
Yeah.
Not a big deal.
Sharing
Big kiss,
popcorn.
little kiss. I know.
Yeah.
You should have seen us out for Nosferatu. I said, it's okay, Mikey.
There was a hole in the popcorn bucket, but
I said, I got a Nosferatu popcorn bucket right here.
So I mean, I kind of echo what James put on it already. The visuals are stunning. I mean, you can basically, they're monkeys and they look like they're real and they have emotions and everything that you would think a human would have as well. I absolutely love the Caesar trilogy. It's one of my most recommended trilogies of any movie trilogy out there. Probably Star Wars is probably above it, but yeah, I recommend it to everybody. Anybody that's not seen it's got to go watch the Caesar ones. And I thought this one paid homage to that one pretty well, and actually shows like how it can impact people in different ways, right? Because Proximus and the others, they kind of see the teachings differently from each other. So it was really just a kind of an eye-opening thing that, depending on how you're kind of reading into what they're saying, you could kind of have a couple different outcomes, and it just kind of plays on that. And then there's the whole aspect with the humans coming through as well. And James said it here. I hope I know they're planning on a bunch of more movies, but I hope they kind of continue this out, because I'm kind of excited to see what's going to happen next.
They will make it. They made a lot of
most,
in
the movie or the experience.
I really like Proximus's speech when he's like, "What a wonderful day," and he's like going through. It really kind of ties back to some of the stuff that Caesar was saying beforehand. And
reminds me of James.
Strong, right? That's the main one here. He always says something like, I don't know what Caesar says specifically, but it's like apes always seek the strongest branch, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And Proximus at that point was the strongest branch. He was like the person, right? So it's kind of just shows the power he had for the other apes around. So I just really like that kind of aspect, and it kind of shows that's the point where you kind of see, okay, he's kind of taking this in a totally different tangent than the other monkeys.
Yeah,
you will learn. We will learn.
We'll learn. It's a good scene. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
So that was my number 7. How about you, Marco? What was your number 7 pick?
My number 7 pick is The Wild Robot.
Do you need assistance? Aggression detected. I see your problem.
Nice.
Look at us. People are like, can these guys watch something goddamn different?
I saw this at home with my son. We saw it on Fandango at home. And it was actually one of the recent movies I'd seen of the 3 or 4 that I tried to crunch in before this pod. And it actually made my list, man. Actually knocked one of the movies that I had on here. Yeah, man, this movie, it like you said, Mikey, it's a really solid story. It tugs on your heartstrings. It's very simple. I mean, obviously, it's almost like an Ugly Duckling type story where the little goose doesn't really fit in, and it's got a robot that's gonna raise it and help it find its way. And it's just very touching. The animation is great. It's performed well. It's got some action set pieces in it for a children's movie that, actually are very well directed. I think the scene that stood out for me the most is actually really where the robot is gonna finally let go of her son, and he's gonna fly with the rest of the flock for the first time, and she's kind of like giving him pointers and stuff and watching him and kind of seeing him go off from a distance.
Good scene.
Really good scene, dude. Like,
she just wants to tell me, I love you. I love you.
Okay, I'm gonna admit it. I don't give a shit. I was bawling my fucking eyes out at the end of the movie, dude. I think like when you're a parent, it hits different, dude. It really does fucking hit different.
God, you're just like, I got a kid. Fuck. Sorry, guys.
Dude,
fuck.
Yeah. Fuck, dude. It does. Like, you don't think it does, but it does, man. It's just like, fuck, dude. I was really like fucking wiping my eyes and shit towards the end.
But that's why I had to come in, Marco. I had to be like a hard ass motherfucker. This one, I was like,
yeah,
fucking robot.
Dude, I thought the same thing. So I was like, we'll see how this movie is. I mean, the trailer was okay. I was, curious, but
I saw because Mikey told me it was good, so I was like, all right, Mikey. All right, Michael, I'll check it out. For me, it was a scene at the end where she sees him again and he recognizes her. I was like, oh, fuck my heart.
Yeah, dude. I was like, fuck. Or it's kind of a spoiler, but it's it's when she's trying to keep him safe, and I'm just like, oh fuck, dude.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Good pick. Yeah. Let's move on to our pick 6s. Oh, football term. Start with you, Nabil. What is your pick number 6?
Well, we all know it was going to be on my list. It's number 6 for me. No, it's a Monkey Man.
It's what?
Monkey Man.
When I was a boy, they took everything from me. The rich don't see us as people. To them, we're animals.
Both of us. We're broken.
If a man wishes to challenge the gods.
Oh.
Yeah. With Dev Patel. Nice. That one, Indian John Wick. Saw that one in theaters, of course.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Here's your Hobbs and Shaw pick. Okay, here you go. Tell me why Monkey
I enjoyed
Man
the
is.
film. It was an action
called
flick.
This is the Hobbs and Shaw pick. Okay, here
Yeah,
we
I
go.
like
6.
this one.
Wow, I'm shocked. 6. Wow.
We all enjoyed this film. Don't give me that.
This is one of those movies where after the first viewing, I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, tell me why you like it.
I mean, I love the fact that it was not just Dev Patel.
He's like, it's my number
being
2.
John Wick. I know, but it was grounded in India again, and another film of Dev Patel just being in the culture. So it was very interesting just to see that aspect of it. Great action scenes, great acting. I loved seeing Dev Patel again, going back into that, just doing his all, directing and acting in this film,
Writing and producing too. Yeah,
writing and producing. He did
It's
it all in a
impressive. It's
short
impressive.
budget.
All
You know,
jokes aside, yeah, it's impressive.
Yeah, he did great. And then one of the scenes that really just stood out to me was the scene in the club where all the trans people just suddenly jump into the fight. Didn't expect it to happen.
I mean, they're just people. I don't know why you have to bring that up, but okay.
It's specifically calling out over there, yes. But it was
okay. I would have said the Warriors, but okay. Hey, Nabil, hey, it's your pick. The Rock doesn't show up in this one though, so
he does not. No, but
you
Vin
still
Diesel
got 5 more
made sure
picks
to
to choose
acknowledge
red one though, so it's fine.
Oh shit!
I know it's on there.
Anyways, I enjoyed the action in this film, and it was just a really well made film. I had a fun time throughout the whole thing. It's just like James' pick from earlier. It was a popcorn flick for me.
Yeah,
but I
like
actually enjoyed
I like the grittiness of Monkey Man, and I think Dev Patel's just likable, man.
Yeah.
Well, I like that there was there's only like 3 action sequences in there, but they're all super long.
Yeah.
So they're just really enjoyable. You can sit in them for a while, and they're just great.
I want to say they go for that one shot a few times, right? Where they're trying to show you, like, especially when he comes back into the club and he goes through the kitchen and then he's going through the floors, and it's just like, holy shit, man! Like
even the little tripod car scene, chase scene that he had over there,
which, by the way, is like his sidekick kind of in this movie, which is kind of weird, but he's like the comedic relief. I thought he did really well too.
Mm-hmm.
No, all jokes aside, though, good pick.
It all kind of worked together, yeah.
Mikey, what is your number 6 pick?
My number 6 is Furiosa, a Mad Max saga.
Ooh. Okay.
I saw this late in May with James. I think that's pretty much all my picks, but whatever.
I'll tell you right now, all my picks I saw with you, Mikey.
So,
spoiler alert.
Hashtag single tier.
That's what then Bill's like, he didn't see nothing at home.
I think a lot of people compared this one to Fury Road, and I think that's a bad thing to do with this particular movie. I realize it's like
Fury Road, I believe,
yeah,
right?
I mean, I realize they're related, yeah, but they're just different movies, though. I mean, one is like literally a 2-hour chase scene, right? I mean, that's what Fury Road is.
I thought Mikey was about to say one made money, the other one didn't.
I don't know. It took a while to make money.
One basically made sure that we never have another Mad Max film, and the other one actually gave us a little hope. But this one, it was a nail in the coffin for me.
But I think Anya Taylor-Joy and Chris Hemsworth both gave really good performances in their character pieces. I actually think I didn't expect Hemsworth to give the performance he did. He was really good in this movie.
He got lost in the character with that nose. That's why.
Dude, yeah.
Recognize him anymore.
He's another one.
But I thought the action in this movie was really well done. There's a couple like really long action sequences. There's one specifically where they're, it's kind of like Fury Road, where they're kind of like on a road going someplace, and it has the Octobos guy that's like floating around in the sky with all the tentacles and stuff going on. Yeah. Just had some really good visuals. They capture some of the heart of the other movie of Fury Road. Mm-hmm. Yes, like I said, I wouldn't compare the two because they're different. One's like a character study, the other one's kind of just a chase, right? But they do bring elements from that one in to kind of bring you in. And I really liked what they did with it, and they had just really good visuals, really good characters. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. No, that's a solid pick, man.
Good stuff, man.
What about you, Marco?
My number 6 pick is Terrifier 3.
You survived the most famous serial killer since Jack the Ripper. The 5-year anniversary is coming up. I think a lot of people would really like to hear from you after all this time. I want to know what it's like to be in the presence of that kind of evil. What goes through your brain when he's close enough to you and feel his breath.
Oh, okay.
I saw this one in Edwards, October 10th with the boys. Look at that.
All the boys.
All of us actually.
All of us saw this one, and that is one of the major reasons why I made my list. We almost never get to watch movies as, a full team. Obviously Nabil's out in the boonies, and Mikey.
I would almost say he's thousands of miles away, but
yeah.
Absolutely.
Mikey and James, are having an affair together, so
Shelly allows it. That's my one. It's my hall pass. It's like
it's your hall pass.
Yeah. So I don't know where the hell you're coming in sideways at like that, Marco.
But we saw this for our Halloween pod, and it was just a fucking amazing experience. Not only was the movie very enjoyable, and I feel like the Terrifier series is one of those that actually gets better as each sequel comes out, possibly because they get a bigger budget and they're able to do more.
Some might say it's not hard to do that for those films.
Yeah, but this one I felt it hit all the notes. It was gory, it was exciting, it was shocking. There were some cringy ass moments with some of the kills. James spoiled one of them, but that's okay.
I'm like, fuck, dude.
I'm just kidding. But dude, overall, really, it was fun to see like these guys like in the seats next to me, like see their reactions and like the whole audience experience as well too.
Several times.
I did. Yeah. It was a bit gory.
I was like, put your hand down, silly goose. You can't see the movie when your hand's in front of your eyes.
The whole audience experience, I think, was really good as well. I think it adds to it. We mentioned on the pod that it's much different, to see a movie in theaters. Obviously, no shit. But this is a prime example of that. I think it just added more to this movie, making it on my list. The scene that stood out the most, I think, is really one of the most fucked up scenes in the fucking movie, which is why it stands out, which is when Art the Clown is posing as Santa Claus. And you can listen to the pod to find out what happens, but it is pretty fucked up.
Are you talking about the bar scene?
No, oh shit. No, the one where he's playing Santa Claus at the mall.
Oh, dude, yeah. Jesus. Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Just because, dude, I didn't
get to like an 11. I'm like, oh my God.
Like the movie had balls to do this, and not many movies do. And I mean, it just, shows more like how evil Art the Clown is.
The opening like 10, 15 minutes, he does some pretty horrific shit, and you're like, oh my God.
Yeah. I got some Mikey vibes out of it. I was like, Jesus.
I was like, is this what the beef feels like?
This was one of the best birthdays presents you guys give me. Just all of us going to the movies together. So
yeah,
I appreciate you guys.
Motherfucker got feelings and shit.
Got a tear going. Oh God,
what are we doing here, guys?
And he's like, thanks for bringing me to the torture porn film.
All right, so it looks like we're going back to our MC, James. What is your number 6 pick of 2024?
My number 6 pick is also Furiosa Mad Max Saga.
Oh.
As Mikey already broke it down, we saw this together in theaters. And I agree, man. It's just, Anya Taylor-Joy really is peak in this movie. She's the ugliest person in the wasteland for some reason. Yeah. Yeah, sure. Right. I'm talking about, oh, man, she's so ugly. I can't. For years, we couldn't figure it out. Yeah. Me and Mark, 2 minutes, we would have figured it out. Like, wait a minute. Someone's hiding something here.
That's not a boy.
So George Miller, he's got that unique style to it all. It's grimy. I liked the whole like Praetorian Jack character as well. Tom Burke, he was great. He's basically Mad Max, right? So or Solid Snake or some shit. I don't know. Just the way that it's set up. The action's great. The cinematography fantastic. We already know where it's going to lead. That's probably the weakness of the movie is that we already know how this outcome's going to happen. Do we really need a prequel to this, or should we have gotten a sequel to Mad Max? Apparently, we should have had the latter, I guess, apparently. But regardless, a lot of fun, big budget action film, a lot of practical effects. They just amp it up in this one. The violence is over the top, but I liked it a lot, man. It's just one of those movies that has stayed with me the whole time. Once again, it's like Nabil said a few times, it's a popcorn flick. Just shut your mind off, let it happen. But even like Chris Hemsworth, man, just great as a villain in this one. He's just crazy as fuck, and it shows the events that lead eventually into Fury Road, which I really liked a lot. So, and the connections in themselves make it so that even if you hadn't seen that as this being a prequel, you don't really have to, theoretically. But it was great. So that's my number 6 pick. Let's move on to our pick 5 now, brought to you by Nabil.
Start with Mikey. What was your number 5 pick?
My number 5 was Alien Romulus.
Ooh.
Oh.
So I saw this with James.
Who you think you are, sir?
And Nabil kind of gave everything out about I agree with everything you said earlier. He actually even stole the one scene I was going to talk about, but that's fine. It's okay. But overall, I really like the cinematography of this movie as well. They made space look really good. And I just like how bold they were to pick a time space between, the first and the second one and still do something new, right? I mean, it doesn't really lead into either one of these movies, but you can still tell it's supposed to be there in between them. But they did have some new twists and things they hadn't done in some of the other movies. So it kept it fresh while keeping it in the same kind of vein of the other two movies, kind of in the middle of the two. So I just like that they kind of blended a couple of the other movies, kind of took it back home, like a little bit was saying, and they still kind of did some new stuff here. So I just kind of echo everything else he's saying.
Yeah, I think I just love what James was saying about it. Like it is a grittier version, back to that kind of sense. And what I mean, that's what you want out of these films.
Yeah, man, it knows what works, and it gives enough homage to the originals. I think that it stays really consistent with the tone of the film.
I will say, since Nabil stole my hallway scene, I did like they had like this couple scenes where they like mess with gravity a little bit, so they were like floating and falling and stuff. I did like that kind of action sequence they had.
Don't gotta touch the acid.
The shoe that was different. Little taking the shots in gravity. Yeah.
And also the end beast is kind of crazy too. So
Oh yeah. All right, let's go to you, Marco. What was your number 5 pick?
My number 5 pick is Dune Part 2.
Oh,
get the fuck out of here.
This movie, obviously I was looking forward to it this year, and it paid off dividends, man. Fucking enjoyed this movie. For me, it feels much grander and bigger than the first one. I really enjoyed Part 1. But this one's really like the meat of the story, and we really see, these characters progress.
Did we see this together?
Yeah, did you see this in the theater with everybody, or?
I saw it at Edwards, February 25th.
Yeah, we saw it together.
So we saw it together. Yeah, we did.
Same, Mike was with me.
Yeah.
No, I remember because I was like, I'm feeling like people were with me when I saw this.
Yeah, I think so. I think you asked me, you were like, "Do you want to go see it together?" And I was like,
I think it was an early screening too, by the way.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah, totally. Because we were trying to avoid like as many spoilers as possible. So
yeah.
I'm
like, wonder what happens.
Yeah, this is one of the movies I saw twice this year because I enjoyed it just that much, and I felt like the experience was well worth it. Man, it's really hard to pick something that stands out in this movie because everything is really fucking great. But I think really, aside from the end battle where they're actually like using like missiles to blow up the enemies, is when Paul's learning how to ride the sandworms. I think they do this POV shot that just looks so cool.
That's cool, yeah.
Just bursting through the freaking sand, and it just looks so fucking epic. Cinematography in this movie just fucking works. The characters, everything, what it builds up to, the messages, the social commentary, everything just is just done so well, and yeah, it worked for me.
Yeah, and in this movie, if you collect physical media on 4K, it's a demo disc. This is a demo disc, just let you know.
Yeah.
So
the first movie too looks pretty good.
Yeah, both.
All right, very cool, Marco. And James, what was your number 5 pick?
Well, my number 5 pick was also Alien Romulus. So I don't know if Mikey might have stolen my list or something, but it's starting to get a little weird.
Oh no! Did you guys
crazy? Frankly, I don't know what's going on here. I actually saw this movie twice. So I did see it with Mikey, and then a week later, I saw it again when I was on a work trip in Idaho, and I actually got to see it in 4DX. Absolutely blasted, by the way.
Really?
Had a few drinks at the bar beforehand, And I said, let's go see a movie. And then it said, Alien Romulus is playing. And I said, 4DX sounds cool. And it was one of the worst experiences of my life because I felt like I was going to puke the whole time. So
I bet.
It was like being on a roller coaster. That's one of the things I remember the most because every time the ship was moving, I was just like trying to close my eyes.
Were you like affected by the gravity parts then? Was it like doing some
Dude, it was just like, then they spray water in your face and I'm just, I'm just like, just really red, and I'm just sitting there. I'm like,
so
you had a few drinks too, like
I had cocktails before this.
Yeah,
I came in like ruby red, and at one point, my coworker puts like a Snickers bar in my face. He's like, "Here, got you an ice cream." And I'm eating the ice cream. I'm like, Frank, I don't know about this one, but dude, I felt like I was like, if I fall off this fucking seat, I'm going straight back to the fucking hotel because it was cool because the theater was in the hotel. See, responsible.
Very cool. Yeah,
it was in the parking lot of the hotel, so we can just walk. So I was like, I'm just gonna walk back. But it was really fun. By the end of it, I chilled out a bit, and every little blast like felt like I was like like a ride in like Disneyland. It was crazy, man. But what I like the most is once again, just like Civil War, Katie Spaney's in this movie too, and she's the main character, Rain, in this one, and she's great in this one, man. She's just like trying to get her and her adopted android brother Andy, a better life. They want to go to this planet, and it's just they're in the really bad situation. And I liked how it's a smaller scale alien film, especially because we reviewed Aliens this year, so we know where this is leading into eventually down the road. But it was cool. Action's great. Sci-fi part is great. The only weakness, I guess, is that last part for a lot of people, just because it connects it. Because really, Scott probably was like, you guys, Fede Alvarez, we're cool with this, doing this, but you got to include my other movie real quick, Prometheus, just to make sure people know. So, but I had a lot of fun. And like I said, I saw it twice in theater, so it was a good experience. And I guess one thing I'll say, the scene that stood out to me that you guys haven't brought up, I like that elevator scene, the shaft scene, where there's still some, there's gravity, but the guards come back, and then the creatures are chasing her, and then Andy comes. It's really well done. I don't like the thing he says at the end because it makes no sense, but for the most part, I liked that whole sequence of events just because it's like, holy shit. So they do a really good job in this movie throughout the film of building tension the whole time. So What about you, Nabil? What's your number 5 pick?
My number 5 pick is Furiosa, a Mad Max saga.
Oh, look at that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I saw it in theaters, of course, and a lot of what we like about the film has been discussed. I mean, it's a visual spectacle. It's just pretty just to see all that, just like it was with the last Fury Road film. It just looks really good. But I guess just to throw in something different, I think it's the first tanker scene where Furiosa kind of sneaks into that whatever, the oil tanker, whatever they're carrying, and they're fighting off the raiders with Pretoria and Jack. That was just a really cool scene altogether with the, people jumping off of the air balloons, and they got the arrows or the spears, and they're just, everybody's being fought off all at once. Like, very well done scene altogether. And it's a fun chase scene. So yeah, it just, I've got nothing more to add outside of just saying that it was just really fun to watch the whole time, and I really enjoyed every moment of it.
No, I agree. It's just one of those movies that, just like the previous film, it never lets up off the gas pedal. Right?
Yeah, really.
So yeah, let's move on now to our pick 4s, brought to you by Mikey.
All right, let's start with Marco this time. What's your number 4 pick?
My number 4 pick for 2024 is also Furiosa.
As a child, my world was forever changed. My mother was magnificent. And he took it all from me.
Who do we have here?
She's from a place of abundance.
I was like, no wonder Marco was been so goddamn quiet.
Yeah. I saw Furiosa at Brennan Theaters on May 25th. Look at that.
6:35 p.m.
It was a morning dew that day.
And there's nothing I can say about this movie that these guys haven't said already. The movie is just absolutely beautiful. Cinematography works. The action set pieces work. Anya Taylor-Joy is just incredible.
Ugliest person I know.
Ugly. No, she's terrible to look at, so you might have to close your eyes in some scenes.
No, it's like,
but her performance definitely makes up for it. But yeah, man, she captured that character perfect, and it's easy to see where she started off and where she ends up by the time we get to Fury Road. And of course, you know, man, everything about this movie just fucking rocks, man. There's nothing really bad I can say about it other than, of course, you know, it's a prequel and we know where it's going to lead. But even though it does that, there are still stakes in the movie. You're still seeing the decisions that Furiosa had to make. Like, she could either have, you know, become like one of the freaking, you know, lords of, you know, some of the other towns, or she ends up becoming her own person. And I like how it showed that, and how a lot of the people in this universe are who they are because of decisions that they make. You know, every single one of them has been through shit, and it shows you that they've all been traumatized in this world, but it's how they choose to, you know, I guess, react to that trauma is who makes them who they are. And that's what I really liked about the movie. I think one of the scenes that stood out the most is actually towards the beginning, where Furiosa's mom is actually like sniping dudes and trying to buy Furiosa time as she tries to escape.
Talk about somebody ugly, huh?
It's like all freaking dusty. Yeah, she's only on screen for just a little bit amount of time, but she does so well with what she has, and it sets the tone and the pace for this movie, and she does it so well. Obviously, Chris Hemsworth also does great too. I think he's also a scene stealer, and his interactions with Immortan Joe are just fucking hilarious, because Immortan Joe is just looking at him like he wants to fucking break his head off because he's a fucking clown. It just makes the movie just that much more entertaining.
Yeah,
very nice.
James, what's your number 4?
My number 4?
Yes, your number 4.
Yeah, my number 4 pick is Horizon: An American Saga, Chapter 1.
Oh,
Ain't from here. Something you want to say? I will tell you this. In these territories, men will come try you. They will take from you until you are wiped clean from this land. I'm just saying that's something you might want to keep in mind.
You think?
So I follow a couple people online for YouTube, like Movie Wise, because, you know, just that's my rabbit hole. And there's a guy I follow called Cyril at Midnight that had seen this movie and had talked about how ambitious the film was at the time, and that, you know, it wasn't doing well. Because I saw this with Mikey, by the way. We saw it. We didn't see it right when it came out. It was like late June, early July, probably.
So you're the reason. Makes sense.
And the guy had said on the thing, like, make sure to, like, if you can, see this in theaters, because it's really an experience. So I even told Mikey, we went randomly like a Saturday to see this movie. And this movie's no joke. It's 3 hours long. And I loved it. I think it's hard to even explain what it's about, quite honestly. It's it's such an ambitious film from Kevin Costner. He even famously quit Yellowstone because he fell back in love with the filming, and he planned on making 4 of these, but I think he's only going to make 2 because he already filmed all of 2, and then things got delayed, and there's a bunch of, he's very passionate about it. Just seeing him talk at Cannes about it was really, like, kind of heartwarming, seeing how much he loved making this movie. And if you like Westerns at all, like, you have to go see this movie. It's on Netflix now, by the way, just as a heads up. But
right,
I went and bought the movie, and I watched it. I saw it again. So I saw it twice. And even for 3 hours, it's kind of insane. It has really good pacing.
Yeah.
It's by the end of the movie, Mikey probably attest to this. Like, I was like, I kind of want to see more. Like, show me more of this goddamn movie. It is just, there are so many subplots of different things that are happening about these people coming west. And everyone could be their own movie in a way. And it's just, it's magnificent. It is one of these things that I think people are going to look back in a few years and be like, holy shit, that movie's like really fucking good. So I guess that's kind of my dark horse pick. But the scene that stands out the most to me is there is a scene where Kevin Costner is he's walking up to a house, and I'll be kind of vague about it, but there's a guy that basically comes up to him and is looking for this girl, and it proceeds into the tension between them is just perfect. It builds it up because you don't know what the fuck's gonna happen, and then us as viewers, you realize you're like, oh fuck, this is Kevin Costner, and it is such a badass fucking moment. It is probably one of my top moments of film for 2024, hands down. So I can't speak highly enough about this movie. It is one of those movies you have to watch.
Oh, you sold me on it, James. I completely wrote it off after hearing the reviews and everything, but it sounds like I really should give it a chance because I'm a fan of Westerners too.
I think you would really enjoy it, Nabil.
Yeah.
It's
a really good setup. Like,
yeah,
right? It's like a perfect setup to like a whole like slew of stories, basically.
It is really well written. I connected to several of the characters. There's even Owen Wilson is running like a Oregon Trail kind of storyline that's going on, and he's dealing with having to be a leader, and he's dealing with people that don't know how to survive. And there's even parts of that. There's scenes with a young boy seeking revenge on a tribe that basically murdered his family, and he gets in with the wrong crew, and it's horrifying, quite frankly, what happens at the end of the film. And it's like I said, I truthfully, it's a movie I'd probably watch it again right now. So
yeah, I've seen it twice too. I watched it again when I saw it on streaming. So it's really good. I posted it on one of the TikToks, and some guy posted like, "How did you give this one better stars than another one?" I was like, "I really liked it. That's why." So it's like the one time we had like a full conversation on TikTok about this movie. So it's kind of fun.
He's like, "I'm gonna murder you, Mikey." No, I'm just kidding.
I do remember the cinematography being really good in this one too. I remember like the kid running away in the darkness, and it's like a lot of shadows we're going through. It's just really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some. It's rated R. Just to let you know, there are some things that are not pleasant to see in this film, but it's gritty to a point, and the characters, like I said, there's people that are. There's a dude like the size of a fucking grizzly bear in this fucking movie.
Oh,
Jesus.
That is like intimidating as fuck, and like further on, the story is supposed to continue. So I'm looking forward to at least chapter 2 because I know that at least that's coming out. So.
Yeah, I've seen it pop up on Netflix, but haven't been able to check it out yet.
Well, great pick. Unexpected, but great. How about Nabil? What's your number 4?
My number 4 pick was Dune Part 2.
Shit.
Yeah.
What you smoking?
It was a great film. I loved it. It looked pretty. It was such a well thought out, planned film. Like, Denis Villeneuve really put a lot of thought in how he wanted the story to be told for the first book, and it was just so well executed. There's nothing bad to say about this film, to be honest, on my end. I will say what we didn't mention from our brief conversation was I really like what was the most visually stunning part of this film is that first time we see that planet of House Harkonnen when it's just that kind of black and white kind of weird thing with and you see
Elvis, right?
Yeah, with Austin Butler's character, and he's fighting those warriors on the planet. You get to see his brutality, but just like everything on that planet and how that looked, like it was so different. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that in a live action, at least, film. And it was, I mean, wow, right? So it was just a great film and fun to watch and an interesting story throughout. And there wasn't any lulls for me throughout it either. It was just up until the end, a really interesting story, and I can't wait for the next one to come out.
It's Getty Prime, right? That's the planet.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
I couldn't remember the name.
I was like, it's the Black Planet.
Yeah, basically.
I'm not good with the names for the Dune stuff. I'm like, it's the one that's dark.
And Mikey, what was your number 4 pick?
My number 4 was Nosferatu.
I've never shared my secret with any soul.
You've had these spells since childhood. Tell me what you can from the beginning.
It is like a dream. It was our wedding. When we turned around, everyone was dead. The stench of their bodies was horrible. Standing before me was death.
Nosferatu.
So, as previously stated, I saw this with James. We went to a fairly large screening for this. And I just loved the way this movie was shot. Like the costumes, the camera work, I really like the lighting. The lighting just looks all natural. Like there's like not real lights.
They actually use candlelight to do the lighting, by the way.
It looks insane in most of the
lit.
scenes. Yeah.
Which is batshit crazy. If this hasn't been win like best cinematography, it's crazy.
Yeah, and I think it's a different take on Dracula. I haven't watched as many of the Dracula ones as you guys have. I've seen the classic ones. I've seen most of them, but
the Bela Lugosi stuff, is that what you're talking about? Like the 60s, 70s stuff? Or are you talking about even earlier, like the?
No, I haven't seen the early ones. So I've seen the Coppola one. I've seen most of the more recent ones.
I was say Vampire and Dracula in Brooklyn or whatever. I seen the Eddie Murphy one. I was like, which one are you talking about, man? Dracula Untold. I was like, wait a minute, that's recent. The Netflix series.
But just in general, I just like how Count Orlok was a little different. Like he's creepy, but he's like kind of weird looking. Like in this one, he's almost like a zombie, right? He's massive. It's so crazy.
Funny because we went into it we didn't spoil it either, remember? Because I was like, I don't even know.
Watch a trailer. I watched the first trailer. That's it. The teaser one.
Yeah. Then when they revealed him, I said, "Shit." His voice too, man. His voice is like, holy shit. This is kind of weird.
Just overall top notch from beginning to end. The performances are great too, like James was already saying here. So just love the movie. I thought it was really good. Thought the visuals were great. I will definitely, when it comes out for streaming, I'll definitely pick this one up or VOD, whatever hits first. I'll be
this one
again.
Just as a heads up, they are going to release a 4K disc on it, which will have a director's cut on it as well. Just to let you know.
Oh,
so that's an instant buy then for me.
Yeah, same here. Absolutely. Same here. Now we're down to our top 3 here with honorable mentions before number 1, of course. But with starting off for our top 3, take it away, Marco.
All right, and we're actually going to start off with James. What's your number 3 pick for 2024?
My number 3 pick was Dune Part 2.
Yeah.
Oh.
So basically everything you guys already said about it, I liked it as well. I thought it was really well done. I'm not the biggest Denis Villeneuve fan. I didn't really particularly like Arrival or Blade Runner 2049. But this is the one, this Dune and Dune Part 2 really have worked for me. And don't be shaking your head, Mikey. I like Prisoners. I like his earlier stuff.
I'm in agreement with Mikey.
Yeah, it was a Blade.
They just didn't work for me. Those ones. I thought 2049 was too long, and Arrival I thought was overhyped. So
those great movies. Get out of here.
Yeah. No, I don't. I mean, Blade Runner didn't make no money either. So fuck you, Mikey.
It's not about the money. It's about the entertainment.
Actually, Mikey,
first one
it is about the money.
The first one didn't make money either.
Yeah, but it's 5 fucking re-releases did. Through physical media, by the way, just as a heads up, everybody. Just let you know.
It's all live.
That's what saved it. Oh. Anyways, back to Dune Part 2. I enjoyed it. I think Timothée Chalamet is one of the upcoming actors that's just killing it lately with all his roles. Just lives a seemingly perfect life, apparently. So that's cool, I guess. I'm not mad about it. That's cool.
Good for him.
Yeah, he deserves it. He's a cool kid, I guess. But yeah, visual wise, I love the scenes where they're riding those worms. It reminded me of Marco in a bill for some reason. I don't know.
you see the fucking TikTok of the dude with the electric worm.
Yeah, going around. This is my vehicle. I'm like, I ain't sitting behind that guy. The popcorn bucket started a trend this whole year. This was like the return of popcorn buckets. Apparently, every fucking movie had a popcorn bucket. I was like, oh my god, dude. And apparently they're killing it. People are like collecting popcorn buckets now. Like, what the hell, dude? So it was just fun. It was the first big blockbuster film of the year. It was nice to see because it had been delayed like twice, I believe, because of COVID, writer strike, all this crap. So it just took a little longer to come out than when it probably was even filmed. But solid pick, man. For me, the scene that stands out is really that the fight, and what he says to Zendaya's character. I thought it was quite beautiful. So I really liked it. But yeah, that's my number 3 pick.
Right on, man. Good choice. On to Mr. Nabil. What is your number 3 pick for 2024?
My number 3 pick is the pick that James was trying to figure out where it was going to land on. Conclave.
I knew it.
The Pope is dead. The throne is vacant.
The conclave begins now. We're about to choose the most famous man in the world.
And 1.25 billion souls watching.
I'd say this is a pretty fair vision of hell. Well, don't be blasphemous, Ray. Hell arrives tomorrow when we bring in the Cardinals.
Yeah, Conclave. So I saw it on streaming at home. Didn't make it into the theaters for that one. And you know, it's just everything that I love. It's politics, it's religion. Like what? How could it not be on my list? If you don't listen to the podcast, you definitely don't know what the films that I enjoy.
Yeah, from the little that I saw of it, I'm gonna finish it. Don't worry, but yeah, like the first like 10 minutes, I was like, "Oh shit, this is like." And Nabil was like, "You guys really like it." And then that's why I should have said, "No, Nabil, no."
I
knew
this
you were
movie.
gonna
I thought it was really good.
pass out.
I thought it was. It's a very interesting take on politics because it is about the papacy and it's about them electing a pope, and that's I've never seen anything like that. Like you see, there's a bunch of films about priests and the Catholic Church and all this, but this was just. It wasn't a speech on Catholicism. It wasn't a speech on any kind of. I mean, they have speeches on religions and they talk about things, sure, but the idea really is just that process of getting with the cardinals and trying to vote for the pope and what political intrigue that's involved in, you know, the politics that's around becoming a pope essentially. And gosh, Ray Fiennes is just very convincing, I guess, as somebody who's conflicted and trying to figure this out. I don't know why I was so intrigued by him, but he's all, you know, he was an interesting guy. A scene that really stands out for me, there's not a spoiler, they show it in the trailer, but there's a scene where an explosion happens right before.
Right. Cool.
The one point that James didn't get to.
Cool. I didn't explosion. What are you, Mission Impossible? What the fuck is this?
So there's a scene that before that happens, essentially it seems like a divine intervention because of something with one of the characters who changes his viewpoint on this vote, and basically with him casting the ballot the way that he did, this thing happens, and it's like a sign from God saying you fucked up. So I think that's very that was a very good telling of how this story was going and getting the ideas of who should be doing what and why, and you know who deserves to be pope. These factions that are created, like all that is just, you know, again, this could be boring for a lot of people, but all this kind of speaks to me. So I just enjoyed every moment of it, and the writing was just great. So there's a lot of good tension and good dialogue here.
Yeah,
surprised it didn't win anything at the Golden Globes.
It won script, I think, right?
I think.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it won script. Yeah,
original screenplay.
Yes.
There was some really good dialogue, though. Oh, go ahead.
I think it's on Peacock.
It's on Peacock. No, it's on Peacock.
Yeah, it's on Peacock. Yeah. But there was some really good. I mean, the movie's just basically dialogue for the most part.
Yeah, it's all dialogue.
So, but there are some.
You're
really,
basically saying do not start at 11:30 p.m. That's what you're telling me. Is that what you're telling me? I know you're jabbing me right now, you son of a bitch.
No, I'm not doing anything like. I watched this again. I
Came
watched
straight from Carry On. I thought, okay, I just saw this guy fucking save a fucking plane. Let me go jump into some Pope shit. Stop judging me with your eyes, Mikey.
Probably should have reversed those movies.
So no, but
no,
like,
I started.
so I listened to Nabil when he brought this up on the last podcast, and I was like, okay, I'm going to give it a shot. And I actually really enjoyed this movie. Like I said, it's all dialogue, but there is some really like powerful scenes between a couple of the characters, between all the characters. Actually, there's a lot of like really good dialogue between them. And I wasn't sure how, because, and even Nabil says it's the ending. If you're actually religious, you might not like maybe some of the choices that were made at the, in this movie somehow. But my parents are pretty religious, and I had them watch this, and they actually really enjoyed it as well. So even from that kind of religious standpoint, it was still interesting to them, still enjoyable. So I think that was just an overall good movie.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah,
I might recommend it to my mom. And with that, we move on to Mr. Mikey. What's your number 3 for 2024?
My number 3 is Challengers.
Oh,
very cool.
So I saw this with James in April when it released, your opening weekend or open week. And I think we did a podcast on this one too, right? I'm pretty sure we did.
Yes, we did.
We did. Yep.
Yes.
So I just think the three main characters, the performances were great. And the movie just kind of handles the relationship between the three of them in a really unique way. It's almost like they're all three in a relationship with the other two people in the film. And it's just a unique kind of point of view. And then it has this tennis match, which is seemingly like not important overall, right? It's just a Challengers Cup, hence the name, I guess. But they really did.
He's trying to get his groove back, right? Just like Stella.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, they take that small tennis match And that the whole ending scene is just basically that tennis match, and then there's just little like micro things that happen during that match between people in the stands and people that are playing tennis, and there's like some things you find out about earlier in the film that kind of come back, and it's just like a nice wrap up of everything that's happening. And even though the movie doesn't actually like show you exactly what's happening, you don't actually care. It's just still a good wrap up of everything. Yeah. So I just think they just took everything, kind of finalized all the storylines, all the relationship stuff. They kind of finalized in like a perfect way. This movie's really good.
It all pays off.
Yeah.
Pacing is really good in this movie.
Yeah, it's just overall, just every scene is really good. I had an issue with the music when I first watched this movie in the theaters because our theater is ridiculous, right?
I told Mikey, dude, I fucking love the music.
Yeah, so I watched it again at home here, and yeah, the music's amazing. So I just maybe just clicked wrong in the movie theater there. Our theater's kind of crazy sometimes with the sound. So, but yeah, everything about this movie is cool. And I liked it. And the final tennis match, I know I kind of talked about it a little bit here, but that's kind of my favorite scene also because of some of the camera work that they used. Like you're actually at the ball sometimes, like you're coming from different point of views. Just really cool, real creative way to kind of show things off.
How it triggers like flashbacks to the other scenes.
Yeah, the way that it's presented overall in the story, I think it's really well done.
Yeah, it's crafted really well.
Solid choice, Mikey.
Thank you. How about you, Marco? What's your number 3?
My number 3 for 2024 is Alien Romulus.
This place gives me the creeps. What the hell is this?
I don't know.
The fuck was that?
Look at that. There's nothing else I can say that you guys haven't said already about this movie. It's fucking fantastic. It's back to basics with aliens. It shrinks down the story like James said, which I think makes for a much better Aliens movie. I think it works better like that rather than a more blown up expanded storyline. It's more personal that way. Social commentary in the movie as well too, where you see these people being exploited by a major corporation. I think it speaks volumes, especially in today's world. And the characters, man. I mean, some of them, are one-offs, but for the most part, really, Kaylee Spaney really does great in this movie. I agree with James. I think she's a fantastic actor, and she really does well in this story. She's sort of like the Ripley in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think the scene that stood out for me really is towards the end as the station is crashing onto the rings of the planet, and it goes from muted sound to full sound as the characters going in and out of space. I think it's just incredible. It's unique. It's something that has not been done in an Aliens movie, and it's memorable. And I think that the creature towards the end is also a thing of nightmares. So yeah, this movie's great.
Let's move on to our final pick here before we get into our honorable mentions. DeBilt, let's start you out. What's your number 2 pick?
Here we go. My number 2 was Wicked.
That's cool. You're green.
I am.
Together we're unlimited.
She had her secrets.
Absolutely remarkable.
There is no fight we cannot win. Just you and I, defying gravity.
Why is it you're always causing some sort of commotion?
I don't cause commotions. I am one. Some of us are just different.
Cool. Would have loved to hear a much more in-depth breakdown of this.
Yeah, that's it. That's what we're going to do. So I saw this in theaters. I wasn't expecting much from it, to be honest. I've never seen the play either. And, I know the gist of what the story is supposed to be about. But going into it, I don't know, well-produced musical, I guess. There wasn't anything specific about the film that it just continued to keep me interested. It was very joyful, I guess.
This is Nabil's Wonka pick from last year, right here.
Yeah,
this is Nabil's Wonka pick.
Kind of is. To be honest, that's not too far off of it. It just made me feel happy throughout the entire film. There was obviously some sad parts and ups and downs or whatever, but throughout the movie itself, I just felt like it was just a lot of positivity, a lot of interest between the two characters of Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande, and their chemistry together worked really well. The music was awesome. Marco had mentioned one of the scenes in the bookstore where they had the musical over there, which is a great scene. I really enjoyed the Defying Gravity number at the end. That was really great. It was a lot of songs I'd never really heard before either, because I hadn't seen the musical, and they were all very catchy to me. Yeah, it was a happy film, and I felt happy, and I hadn't felt like that from any of the films I've seen. So I was all about it.
Damn, it was like I've been dead inside for fucking months.
Been pretty bleak. Some good films, some bad films, but this was just a happy film, and yeah, it made me feel happy. So I gave it number 2.
Solid movie. Solid
cool,
choice,
man.
Bill.
Nice. What about you, Mikey? What's your second to last pick?
My number 2 is Civil War.
Ooh, me gusta.
So it was mentioned already here, and I echo everything that was already said here. But it's just a well shot movie. The sound was mentioned before. It's fantastic. I almost feel, just to kind of add on a little bit what was said beforehand, I feel like this is, yes, it's not a real story or something that really happens, but it feels like something that could happen, right? So it kind of feels like it could be like an alternate timeline or something like that. But it feels like something that could actually nowadays, like, at least at the time it got released, there was a lot of stuff that was going on that was like kind of the same way. Like it was kind of potential to like kind of spark some of these things to happen. Not that I don't think it would actually happen that quickly or anything like that, but it kind of felt like it could potentially do that. The performances are great. I just like the different perspective as well that they put. Like usually you're following the soldier and like the reporters, like the sideline stuff where you're like seeing him in the background. Whereas in this one, you're getting a different perspective of it. You're seeing it from their point of view. So you're seeing the soldiers' backs, and you're seeing like a full picture of everything that's happening, really. So it was really nice. It really clicked with me. I've seen this movie a couple times now. I recommend it to many people. They've all seemed to like it as well. And just to kind of like talk about a scene here specifically, I like the sniper scene just because it's kind of different.
So good.
Perspective of like how everything's happening. It also shows, like, the first time it shows you like how weird the situations are. Like they don't even know what side the other person's on. They're shooting at us, so we're shooting at them, kind of thing. And it's kind of interesting. It just kind of put everything in perspective about how this movie's going to be. And it's just a really powerful scene, I think.
No, that's great. Yeah. No, like I said, that was my pick too. A little further back, but me and Bill actually had the same pick.
Yeah.
Pick 9, yeah. Mm-hmm. So good stuff, man. What about you, Marco? What's your second pick?
My number 2 pick for 2024 is Challengers. Saw this in theaters at Brendan on April 25th. Yeah, everything what Mikey said. This movie is really great. I agree with James too. The pacing is amazing. You see the dynamics between these 3 characters and their relationship through the ups, through the downs, through them wanting to get what they selfishly want, and also them trying to recognize that they still care for the other person and trying to see them succeed in a weird way. The tennis matches are freaking incredible. I never thought I'd be that invested into watching a tennis match. I don't watch tennis, but this movie like makes it freaking interesting. Like you're really curious as to like, are they going to make this hit? Is the other person going to miss? Who's going to win? And it makes you invested in the story. I think the characters are portrayed very well. You really get to see like who these people are within, right when you think one of the characters and think like, oh, I'm kind of going on their side. They show a flashback and one of them's doing something fucking shady, and you're like, oh shit, okay, never mind. I think the scene that stood out the most for me was the scene where there's an argument taking place between Zendaya and one of the guys, and there's a fucking storm going on in the background, and like the music starts up and it gets intense. And it's just such a well directed scene. It's incredible. It's just an argument, but it's so fucking intense. And you're like, what the fuck's going to happen? Is one of these people going to die? So yeah, it's amazing movie. I recommend it to people. I cannot recommend it enough.
Oh yeah.
And yeah. That's why I made my number 2.
That's solid.
And what about you, James, what is your number 2 pick for 2024?
My number 2 pick. Well, I guess I should just play like this. Let me let Nicolas Cage take it out here for a second.
And it can be nice. Make me go now.
So yeah, it's Long Legs.
We have 10 letters like it over the past 30 years. And all of them signed with one word. Long legs.
He'll kill. And kill again.
There she is.
You could have made nice with me, but you didn't.
So Long Legs is one of the... I had a lot of horror films on my list originally, by the way, just to let you know. Like, I had to, like, pick and choose. I was like, I gotta get rid of some of these. Like, half my list is horror films at one point. I'm like, holy shit.
That tracks.
And Long Legs was the film. Well, I guess I should tell when I actually first saw it here. I saw this with Mikey, of course, just to let you know. I wasn't lying. We watched it together. Saw it in about mid-July when it came out. There was a lot of hype leading into this release, and it is one of the creepiest movies, I think, that I saw this year. Not like jump scary, but the way that the film is shot.
Like
it has a lot of... Yeah, it has a lot of shots where things are in focus, and it's kind of showing you things that, like, hey, why are they showing that shed in the background? And shed's still in the background. This is getting weird. Like, why? Like, they're still talking. You're getting other shots, and like, shed looks a little closer now. Like, what's going on here? And it's just a bizarre movie. The way that it's shot, it's in like an alternate timeline, obviously, too, because there's like psychics that are somewhat accepted of what they can do and their abilities, and the character played by Nicolas Cage is absolutely horrifying and bizarre, to say the least. He has some scenes that he's not even in the movie that long, honestly. And when you find out, by the end of the film, when you find out, they reveal a lot of the film comes together really well at the end. And when you find out, like, the twist to it all, like where he's been the whole time and how things have been playing out, it's really creepy, to tell you the truth. It's not one of those things that you're like, oh, that's like not normal, but this is not a normal film, honestly. Just to let you know, like, the way that it's shot and the way that it's presented. I think Micah Monroe, she plays the main character, does an amazing job. And it doesn't seem like anybody had a good time making this film. I don't know, man. It's like the vibe I get. Osgood Perkins is the guy that directed it, and his movies are really hit or miss. I thought his Hansel and Gretel film that came out right before COVID hit was actually really good. Visually wise, it's stunning. There's just some very horrific scenes. There is a scene that is very haunting where they show... I won't spoil it because I want people to see this movie there, where they show what is the cause of this whole thing, and there you see these eyes behind a veil. Yeah. That is like one of the creepiest things I think I saw all year on any horror film.
Jesus.
And it's giving me goosebumps right now just even talking about it, because it's creepy as fuck and it's great. So if you're a horror fan, do yourself a favor, Long Legs. You got to see this movie.
I think you sold me on this one. You know I like that creepy shit.
I really want to watch this one again. I liked it the first time we watched it. I feel like a second watch you'd notice a little bit more stuff, and I think I would like
probably
it a little bit more,
especially because they reveal so much in the last 15 minutes.
Yeah,
it's like, ta-da! You know, like, we've been playing secrets the whole time.
It's a really good one. I like it.
It was fun. That was my number 2 pick.
Right on, man.
So before we get to our final pick here, guys, let's get into our honorable mentions. We're allowed 2 each. Let me know what the movie is. Then you tell me why it didn't quite make it. But, you know, this is your little shout out to add 2 more to your list, basically. Is the way that I look at it. I'm going to start with you first, Nabil. What were your 2 honorable mentions?
Well, the first one is Heretic.
Great movie.
Yeah, this is a film.
That was almost on my list, too.
Close, right? Yeah, I felt the same. Like, it's a very interesting premise. Another religion kind of based film, but horror in the horror aspect. It has a very strong start. It even has a strong second act. It's that third act that kind of starts... It takes away from what we were starting with divulging into more of the ideology of the religion and going to the more horror aspect of it. And I feel like I wanted more of what the first two parts of the film was giving me, and not really where it ended up being. So that it kind of floundered a little bit. And if they could continue that on, it'd be great. I'd love to be able to see an option, maybe like a prequel, I guess, considering how the film ends, to how this goes, and maybe get some more of this. But yeah, I mean, it sold me from like just that initial room where they're in the living room and they're having a conversation of what the religion is preaching and the hypocrisy of it all. Like it's a great setup and a great premise. I feel like they just didn't strongly end the way they could have.
No, I agree. That movie was it was a good watch too. It really makes you think too about the end, because it's very like it's up to you to decide what's really going on at that end. Right. And I thought it was well done. I thought Hugh Grant as the villain too.
Like such a strong, like,
yes,
not just Hugh Grant is a great actor and everything, but his like rendition of what he was bringing with this character was so strong and so like enthralling. You wanted to know more about what this guy's thinking about and how he got, because
he is so in control, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then my second honorable mention is The Fall Guy. And honestly, it was just, I enjoyed it. I know it didn't do so well in the box office, and I didn't even get a chance to see it in the theater, so I'm that person who caused that problem.
It was good.
I bought tickets twice and had to cancel them because of stuff that kept coming up, so I had to see it at home, but I did buy it at home. It's a fun action flick.
I already bought it, man. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
It's already sitting on that Fandango, man.
I mean, it was a fun action flick. The stunts looked really cool. It was definitely, they've talked about it many times in interviews, but it's an homage to all the stunt filmmakers and giving them their due over there. And it was directed by David Leitch, who was a stunt coordinator himself.
Yeah.
And freaking Aaron Taylor Johnson, again, is one of his years of films. He was fun in that film. It was just a good time. It wasn't like anything that I could say, oh, this is the best action film of all time or anything like that. It's like my fandom for Mission Impossible or anything like that. But it was fun to enjoy seeing what Ryan Gosling's doing. Emily Blunt and him had good chemistry. So there was a lot of good things working with it. I mean, there was a scene, I think it's Aaron Taylor Johnson's character's hotel room where there's a shootout going on, and that's like there's stunts happening and it's like realistic. So they're falling down and he's in pain as he gets up and he's trying to dodge these bullets because it's just the whole way you can tell obviously it's like a coordinated scene, but the way it goes through, it just makes you feel like, that's real life. And he's a stunt guy who can do some of the stuff, but he can't do all of it, some of it's movie magic. So I enjoyed the film quite a bit, but just not the strongest compared to some of the other ones we've seen.
Yeah, no, I had a lot of fun with that one though. I saw it in theaters with Mikey. And then I actually saw it again at home, so I've seen it twice. So I watched the extended cut the second time.
Yeah, that's what I saw at home. Yeah.
Which I don't think you need to watch extended cut. I think the original cut's a better cut to watch because the movie is already long to begin with. I think that's one of the weaknesses. That movie could be 20 minutes shorter because they kind of keep adding to like, hey, and what if this happened? And
there's more like set pieces being added for him to get into something. Yeah,
exactly. So
solid pick, man. Fun movie.
Good picks. Good honorable picks though. Good honorable picks. Mikey, what about you? What are your two honorable mentions?
My first pick, it's Heretic.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
So I mean, I echo everything.
My second one is The Fall Guy.
And my second one's a little different, but
excuse me.
No, but I echo what Nabil said. It's very dialogue heavy, but I mean, Grant does a great job in that front part of the movie. It's just the whole setup, the whole thing where he's like explaining games. And like
that's one of the best scenes.
Right? It's just so good. It's but
then when Sophie Thatcher's character actually like calls him on his shit on that scene, I like that part even better. Honestly,
yeah. There's just a lot of back and forth between them, and it just all works. But I do think it falls apart a little bit towards the end, like Nabil was saying as well. So for the same reason he mentioned it, that's why I didn't make mine.
What's in that fucking pie?
So yeah, and my second pick is actually a streaming movie. I like this movie a lot. It's not Carry On.
Carry On. Wow.
It's Rebel Ridge.
Good pick, by the way.
Yeah.
Good pick. Yeah.
So I think this is one of the better streaming or straight to streaming movies that have come out in a while. The main character by Aaron Pierre, he does a fantastic job. It's kind of different than everybody says it's like Rambo, which it does have the basic premise of like a Rambo style movie, but he is so much more.
First Blood?
Yeah.
All right, Marcos, get the title right.
Yeah.
First Blood.
Come on,
sorry,
son of a bitch.
But
sorry, I just tried to say it.
But
Those
his
eyes,
character
man,
is
you
so
lost
much
in those
more
eyes.
than just fighting, right? He uses his mind. He even tries to play along with the corrupt cops a little bit. So he just does so much to prevent having to fight. And then when you do have to fight, it's a style of fighting that's non-lethal. It's very up close and personal. It's just a little different, but it all worked for me. It just, the guy seemed like he was a cool dude, and he's just trying to get his brother out, and he couldn't do it. So something just clicked with me. But it's just, I needed a little bit more to put it on the top 10.
How much did you love to hate Don Johnson in that film too? Like he was
such a
he was
dick,
surprisingly good. Yeah.
I'll get you the truck, all right? I was like, oh, I mean, I'll take it, I guess. Shit. Good picks, though. What about you, Marco? What are your 2 honorable mentions?
My first one is the Garfield movie. Yeah, man.
Truthfully, you know what? I had a lot of fun.
that.
Dude, we all saw that together, by the way.
Yeah. Yep. Dude,
That's
it was...
that's why it was on my short list too, just because I was like, good theater experience. Because we went with you, your son, Mikey came with no kids at all. It was weird. I came with my brother and my niece, so I at least had that. But it was cool.
That's actually why it almost made the list, is primarily for the experience, and also like it was a fun movie, dude. I know Bill was talking about like how Wicked made him happy and smile. This movie made me happy and smile. You know, I saw it twice. We even took my mom to go see it after we saw it with you, man. She freaking loved it, man. Yeah, it was because we had
not on a Monday, though, of course.
No, not on a Monday. No, but it was a surprisingly enjoyable gem. I didn't know what to expect in this movie. I had low expectations.
Dude, we all came in low because we were literally like, we're just coming here because these kids want to see it. But then meanwhile,
exactly.
I like Samuel Jackson's hilarious in this movie.
He is. The comedy and also like the slapstick stuff works. Like the story has a nice, little freaking message. It's very touching. It tugs on the heartstrings.
It does.
And it's just a fun popcorn movie you can enjoy a family. And
when he realizes like his dad didn't abandon him, I was like, oh my heart.
Oh yeah, I know. Unfortunately, the Wild Robot, knocked this one out. So. Already had an animated movie selected. So,
he's like, I had to do something more critically accepted. Garfield movie. All right, what about your other one?
My second honorable mention is actually Megalopolis. Dude, I really actually
shot pick. No,
dude, I actually really enjoyed the fucking movie, man. I thought, it wasn't perfect by far.
Ambitious. It's ambitious.
It's ambitious, and my soft spot for Coppola, man. We went through that whole ordeal. We finally got to see what could be his final film. I think the intent and the message he was trying to display and give out, I think is important. And I think that, even though it's also kind of like a, semi-telling of his own experiences and stories, I think a lot of people could relate to that, and I think that it, if it was just fixed up a little bit and edited a little bit different, I think it could have been great. But still, I think it's worth a watch.
The look of disgust on Bill's face is just
yeah, I know. But
no, I agree. I think it's because we did that whole marathon of that's the reason why, truthfully, is because of what connected more with it. And Mikey and I got to go to that like
special,
super cool. Yeah, it was cool. Like we got to see a guy like get interviewed. It was fucking weird, but I was like because there's a live part of it, and it was like, what the fuck is this all about? But yeah, it was. That's a good. No, I understand why it's there though.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Honestly, like for that movie, I don't know why, but I remember a lot of the dialogue from that movie. I don't know why. It just stuck with me. Yeah, it just stuck with me.
Club, go back to the club,
dude. I remember the performances, dude. Like it's just. Like a lot of them stuck out.
I got a boner. Yeah. And Marco's like, so do I.
Oh man.
No, they do stick out. It's because it's almost like super over the top, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like Aubrey Plaza's roles in that. She's intense in that one, dude. So.
What about yours, James? What are your honorable mentions?
So it was close for like I wanted to sneak in another way. It was between. I almost had Cuckoo on the list, just so you know, but. Not quite. So the one they chose was The First Omen, actually.
Oh yeah, that almost made mine too.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a good one.
The First Omen was the reason why is because I think the trailers for this movie were terrible. First off, did not sell the movie. Like they were showing them, and I'm like, why the fuck are you making a prequel to The Omen, right? And surprisingly enough, we go into it. I see this with Mikey and Neil Tiger Free, who I really liked from the Apple TV Plus show Servant, which was M. Night Shyamalan produced and directed and such, was like really good in this movie. It was surprisingly how well done this movie connects to the original Omen film. First off, it has some of the creepier elements too. That's pretty intense at some points. There's points where I was like, oh my god, the gore is pretty up there in this one. And it's just shot well. The story, the pacing's done. It's only like an hour and a half, I think, or something. But it was one of those movies that I was just surprised by, and I really enjoyed it. It didn't quite make the list just because there was a few that edged it out just a bit. It was in the top 10 for a while for me. So, but it's another horror film. I saw this and then immediately went and rewatched the original Omen, and it connects like perfectly. You could do like a double feature between these two movies, and it's just so well done. You really feel for her character. I think that's what works for this film, because she's put in such a shitty situation, and there's like a mystery behind it. And there's the demonic stuff, and it's like, oh my god, it's crazy. But
it was the better Immaculate film too, right?
I didn't have an issue with Immaculate. It's the better Apartment 7A film, really, is the way you look at it, right?
Okay, yeah.
But Immaculate wasn't bad, but no, this was the better version of it, because I remember we saw, dude, they came out so close to each other too.
Yeah. Like,
this one had Sydney Sweeney, so And then my second film, I actually kind of cheated. It's 2 movies.
Oh, you bastard!
But
we got yelled at last year for this.
I knew he was going to do this.
No, but they connect. So it's Watchmen Chapter 1 and 2. So it should just be one movie, just to let you know. Honestly, this is my only movie, by the way, that is like a video on demand that I went and bought, and I think the first one on Max.
Super good. Yeah.
I'm a huge Watchmen fan. You guys probably know this. I think I've seen every iteration that have come out, live action.
He's dressed as Ozymandias right now.
I guess we know who watches a Watchmen then.
No, you look over, I'm just looking completely blue like Dr. Manhattan. That's the reason why I painted myself blue ahead of time. I thought it was going to hit a little harder. I just realized we're not actually recording, so I guess I can put my shirt back on. No, I liked it a lot. Part 1 and 2. By the way, Mark, I have the second one on Fandango, so
I'm waiting to watch it with my brother, because we saw the first one.
It's wonderful. It's one of the most faithful adaptations of the comic, which I've read the comic 2 or 3 times at this point. So it's one of those things that it really adds in what's missing from those live action movies. The only thing that holds it back slightly is the animation is just a little stiff for me, but I get why they did it. They made it so it's reminiscent of the comic panels themselves. But if you are a Watchmen fan, I mean, like I said, the reason why I say part 1 and 2 is just because it comes out to about 3 hours total if you watch them. Mm-hmm. And it really does do a really good job of completing the whole story arc from the actual comic, including a lot of the scientific parts of it, or the monster coming into the city that are not shown in the original. I think that it really stands out in that point. So, like I said, the only one that's not from the theaters that I actually really enjoyed watching. So, I almost made my list, but it was just there was a few more things, like I said, that I liked just a bit better. But and plus, we've already had Watchmen shit in the past. But if you're looking for like a really good animated one, though, it's really well done. So,
agreed. Solid pick, dude.
Yeah, thank you. All right, so down to our final picks here, brought to you by Nabil. Go for it, Nabil.
Okay, we're in our number ones for 2024, and we're going to start with you, Mikey. What was your top film of the year?
My top film was Carry On.
This isn't mine.
Ethan, today is a day that you're going to remember for a very long time, but if you handle it right, you're going to have a chance to forget it.
No, it was Dune Part 2.
You've been fighting the Harkonnens for decades.
Look!
My family's been fighting them for centuries.
Your blood comes from dukes and great houses. Here, we're equal. What we do for the benefit of all.
Well, I'd very much like to be equal to you.
Maybe I'll show you the way.
Now, Nabil and Marco both said they didn't find any flaws with this. So if they didn't find any flaws, it should be their number one movie. And that is why it's my number one movie, is because this movie is fantastic and it's flawless. It has a little bit of everything. It's sci-fi. I don't know how they topped part one. Like, I loved part one. I thought it was fantastic.
Same.
I didn't think there was going to be any reason or way that they could make part two better. And they somehow did. I think part two is even better than part one.
Okay.
And that's saying a lot. Just the cinematography, the visuals, all the acting parts, everything about this movie is fantastic. Yeah, chef's kiss, as Marco was just doing here. I think it was Nabil that picked the Getty Prime scenes where it had that infrared camera, like super no color.
So cool.
It was just a really cool contrast to the rest of the movie. It's just everything about this movie is just fantastic. I can't talk about it this enough. I've seen this movie like 5-6 times since it came out. It's fantastic. And I do agree with James. It looks absolutely fantastic on 4K. It's definitely something you should look into. So
sounds good too.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a flawless movie in my opinion.
Very cool. And yeah, I mean, I agree with that. So, so I can't say anything more than that. All right, Marco, what was your top film of 2024?
My number one pick for 2024 is, drumroll please, Civil War.
Citizens of America, the so-called Western forces of Texas and California have suffered a very great defeat at the hands of the United States military.
Mr. President, do you regret the use of airstrikes against American citizens? We're moving to D.C. today.
We need to go down there.
They shoot journalists on sight in the Capitol. Every instinct in me says this is death. Flooded.
That movie, as soon as I saw the movie, I knew it was going to be my number one, dude. That movie has stuck with me ever since I saw it. It is also a flawless movie for me. I think the pacing works, the storyline works, the acting works. I agree with what you guys said about how we follow a ragtag team of journalists that are reporting on this thing and just, showing it for what it is. I know Alex Garland said that he was trying to keep away from having any political views, but I mean, it kind of shows in one way or another when you unravel the story, and I think it speaks volumes, and it's something that I think that everyone should watch. I think I can't recommend this movie enough. I recommend it to everyone, and I say watch Civil War. Trust me. And of course, everyone, because I'm a nerd, thinks I'm talking about Captain America. I'm like, no, not Captain America, Civil War. God damn it.
Civil War 2024.
Yeah, the A24 movie. I'm glad they're doing more bigger budget movies, or at least attempted to this year. Because
they're trying to.
Yeah, because this one fucking rocks. I really enjoyed the last battle at the end. It was just incredible, riveting. Had you at the edge of your seat. The scenes inside the White House. Oh man, just fucking chef's kiss. The way it ends, the finale, like it's just. Man, it's so captivating that it made my number one list.
Yeah, and now we know that you've been inspired and you've formed your own militia and are going out to your compound in Arizona and getting things ready.
He's wearing the sunglasses. Oh my god!
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Oh my god, Jesus.
No, great pick, Marco. It's definitely a solid choice. James, what was your top film of 2024?
My top film of 2024, it's probably obvious, is Challengers.
You think that tennis is about expressing yourself, doing your thing. But you don't know what tennis is.
What is it? Tashi Duncan, she's in another league. You were incredible today. To have a fashion line, a foundation, she's gonna turn a whole family into millionaires.
What are you gonna do now?
Unfortunately, my only skill in life is hitting a ball with a racket.
I want you to be my coach. I want you to be my coach.
How often does this happen?
Nice.
I knew it.
Yeah, I loved it. I saw it twice. I saw it twice in theaters. So it's one of those things where it just everything worked for me, man. Just the way that the story unfolded, the love triangle. I think Zendaya's character Tashi's really. I liked how she's so manipulative and knows what she wants because she lost out on this goal in life. She's living it through her husband, right? And
Yeah.
And even through the other guy as well. So, Patrick and Art. So I see I love the music even off the bat. That music got me hyped. Especially
I could see James bobbing his head right throughout the whole film.
Dude. Yeah, I mean, it's right at the end too. It's Reznor did all this stuff, right? I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So as soon as that last kicks in and he does his little tell at the end, I was just like, this movie's perfect. So it's one of those films where, I mean, you either love or hate Luca Guadagnino, but his last few films have been really good, and I think he's got a style to it all. So it's not for everybody. I get that, but
so Italian.
Yeah, I mean, Bones and All was kind of a rougher one to watch, but this one I had a lot of fun. Like I said, the performance is just fantastic, man. I loved every minute of this. I said, like I've talked about the pacing. Pacing's perfect, and that's why it's my number one film. So the one I'll probably remember the most.
Nice.
Cool. All right, Bill. Let's get your last one in here. Tell us why it's Deadpool versus Wolverine.
Well, my number one pick is, I'm right there with you, James. It's Challengers.
Going after the same girl? Come here.
Which one of us? This is a game about winning the points that matter.
I don't need to play mind games with you. Come have a cigarette with me. I have to talk to you.
I don't smoke, and I'm not talking to you.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Wait, was Deadpool and Wolverine not even on your list?
No, not even on my list, guys. You guys are crazy. It was good. It was not
nice. Great. Okay, cool. Nice.
But no, Challengers. It was.
What if he only did this because he just crossed it out? I was like, yeah, what the fuck? I wouldn't do that. That's weird.
Who would put it at number one?
He's all sweating. He's like, no, it's fun.
It's a sexy, horny tennis film.
Yeah, there's a lot of
it's just, and there wasn't any sex there was a little bit, but really not much. It was pretty tame for one of these kind of films that you'll see. It's
honestly for a Luca Guadagnino film.
Yeah, it's pretty tame. It's great chemistry between the three of them. You hated and loved everybody for their own reasons and kind of bought into their characters. You wanted to see, like Marco said, it's the tennis match. You wanted to know what was going to happen and who's going to win and how the ball's being shot and who's seeing what. And, it's all. And I mean, that last scene that Mike had brought up about the tennis match, such a low stake tennis game, by the way. It is. I mean, it's for the main character. I think it's for Mike Faist. It doesn't mean anything to him. It's just something else. The Josh O'Connor's character,
it means something to him just because it shows that hey, I still got it. So I'm using it. He uses it as like a practice, right?
It's more of a practice for him. But there's no real consequence for losing or winning. But for Josh O'Connor, it's a big deal. His character, right? And so such a low stake game, but it also felt like everything was on the line. You had to win.
Yeah.
And then the whole friendship dynamic between them as you see the progression from start to finish of everything they had to go through and to where they ended up. Gosh, it's and again, I'll go back to just with James. Freaking music kept me enthralled the whole time. Every time it was a tense scene, that it was all just perfectly crafted and put together. Mikey was talking about Dune Part 2 and how it's a perfect film. Yes, but Challengers was such a different and unique perfect film where it just brought so many things that you just don't see in cinema as often. It's like one of those special moments where you kind of jump into it and you're like, what is this film about and why have I never heard of this actor or the director or seen something like this before on screen, and why do I want to see more of it? It's a
I think the only movie I didn't even see Mike Faist in before was the West Side Story remake. So
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was to me a perfect film. Can't say anything more than that.
I like that. I like that.
Solid choices.
Going from perfect films, what was the most? I don't always say worst, but what was the most disappointing or worst film for you guys in this last year? Start with you, Mikey.
I actually had a harder time with this than I did with picking my top 10. But
you obviously have not seen Afraid, so okay.
I actually did watch that. That wasn't even on my short list. I went with the most disappointing film, right? Because I just thought that movie was going to be bad from the beginning, right? I didn't expect it to be good, so it's not disappointing to me. I'm going to go with Rebel Moon Part 2. I'll even throw in the director's cuts on top of that, right? So
you You
were disappointed by the film?
Wait, what?
Yeah,
Did you see the first one?
So I did see the first one, and that's why I was disappointed. Right?
I like
'Cause
the first
feel-
one, man.
I feel like the first one set up a perfect storyline for the second one to be good. Right?
You could have added 20 minutes to that film and been like, that's it. That's the movie.
But like what I'm saying is like everything like the first one. Okay, I didn't love the first one. Right? It was okay. It had some elements that were setting up characters, and I thought, okay, great. Okay, they did all the setup in the first one.
Yeah.
And the action and all the good juicy parts are going to be in the second part. And then the second part ended up being the same
Slow
exact
motion,
movie.
wheat cutting, yeah.
Yeah, it's the same exact movie as the first one. Like it doesn't make any sense at all like how they put these two movies out. And even the director's cut, people are saying that's better. It's not better. It's
I never even
damn.
you don't even need to go back and watch them. Don't even worry about it.
I'm not. I don't think I'll ever watch those movies.
I've heard from Zack Snyder's interviews how he was like, all my other films, the studio intervened and I couldn't do this the way I wanted to. And I did my director's cut. And fucking Netflix hands him these films. Like, go ahead, make your fucking epic. And not only was the studio version, I put this in quotations, not that strong, then he makes his director cuts, which are just as bad. So it's
because
like
he's like known for these cuts at this point. So they're like,
Yeah,
now we
it's
have a
like,
Zack Snyder director cut too.
don't give me the shit of like you're being hindered, okay? Like this is just how you are, and there's nothing wrong. I like Zack Snyder, but like to go about and making these films and then make it seem like it's going to be better than they really are. Like it's it's
damn.
I agree.
Yeah.
And then there's like hinting at a sequel at the end. I'm like, oh god, please no.
Well, supposedly there's like 5, right? It was supposed to be 5. So
I was trying to do a whole epic, yeah.
Yeah, like
It's supposed to be like a Star Wars type treatment. I'm
It's-
morbidly curious,
I'm
but I
so
don't know.
glad Disney was like, we're good, thank you though.
All right.
They're like, we've already got garbage. We don't need to keep adding to it.
I mean, if you are going to watch it and you haven't seen either one before, watch the director's cut. They are semi better, but if you've already seen the other ones, don't watch it. There's not that much difference between the two. So if you've already seen them, don't go back and watch them. It's not going to impress you anymore.
What about you, Marco? What was your most disappointing or worst film of the year?
My most disappointing was Joker Folie à Deux. Just one of the movies I was really anticipating this year. Was hyped for it. I actually went to go see it at the Metreon after work.
Gosh, I'm sorry, man.
And paid up to go see it.
I'm so sorry.
It was a packed theater, and man, it was. Yeah, no, it was. I stayed awake, and luckily I had a good buzz going. But I was just like, oh my god, dude! Like it just, yeah, it didn't hit its mark. Don't get me wrong, there were some good things. It looks nice. It was shot beautifully, obviously, but yeah, just it just fell short, man, on a lot. Like I get what what the director was trying to do, but I've seen it done better in The Godfather 2. I'm just saying, if you're trying to destroy a character or make people dislike a character, there's a really good way of doing it, and there's a shitty way of doing it. Or, you could just pull a Matrix 4 and just, try to, ruin the franchise, whatever. But which I feel like that's the angle he took on this one. And,
there's a reason that James Gunn was like, we have nothing to do with this.
Yeah, there's a reason why I didn't have the DC logo, like the new DCU logo on at the beginning.
they
They had
not?
a different one.
I didn't realize
They were
that.
like,
Yeah,
we're good. So it's just, it's sad because I think, some of the performances were pretty good from Joaquin Phoenix, but I mean, it had one good scene, during the court scene with the little person, and that's about it. Everything else was just sort of like there, and I was like, okay.
What about you, Nibble?
So I'm gonna. So my pick for most disappointing film was Megalopolis, and I know Marco went to his whole thing about why he had it on his list, but I'm on the opposite side of it. I feel we watched all these Francis Ford Coppola films. We did a Coppola Corner, and I really started appreciating like his techniques and his film, his story making, the way he was writing and what he was trying to put on screen. Even some of the ones that I liked more than some of the group liked as a whole. Like just because I was in the mindset of like I can see what he's trying to get with. I see this film, and yes, I understand the whatever political thing he's trying to share with the world in this film. But this film just not a film made by a master director, our tour that he's been doing for the last 30, 40 years plus. Like, it's just,
it makes you want to riot. I get it, Nabil.
There's a lot of plot holes. There's a lot of places that the time stopping thing makes no sense to me when he doesn't use it. Like, there's one of the characters.
You don't understand Coppola, okay?
Apparently not. Apparently I don't, and that's disappointing to me. Like, I feel like I should have maybe understood something, but I got into it. I was looking forward to this film.
That's why it's an honorable. It didn't make my list.
Francis.
I was looking forward to the film. I thought it was going to be something so much more, and I thought that there were just a lot of haters out there. I'm like, you guys just don't understand. We've been through all his films. Like, we know how he is. And then I go and see this film. I was like, oh my gosh, he was trying to make this one for 30 years. Gosh, what are you doing?
Come on, we saw the last few films. Like, I wasn't shocked.
Yeah, but it was like near the end of his tenure. So I was like, he's just throwing things out there. I was like, it's okay.
You saw Betwixt too, right?
This was the one film where Nabil actually demanded a refund. He was like, give me my fucking money back.
He's 85 years old, like.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Fucking Clint Eastwood's 90-something years old, and he did a great film this year. So
that's true. That almost made a list too.
Yeah.
Turn number 2.
It was good. I wouldn't say it's great. It's good.
Yeah, enjoyable. But yeah, I was disappointed by Megalopolis. I was expecting much more from him, and with the cast too. And I just didn't see it. Don't know what he was trying to do, and was disappointed by it all.
Yeah. No, I mean, I get where you're coming from. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, my most disappointed was Joker Folie à Deux as well.
Yeah.
So thought it was terrible. I think the music was so unnecessary. Every scene, like at one point he tells Lady Gaga to stop singing, and I was like, please, for the love of fucking God, stop singing. I'm fucking burned out. Like, from the get-go. And it's just a shame because, Todd Phillips just cannot make a fucking sequel to save his life, man. He fucked up all the fucking Hangover films. He just doesn't know how to fucking end his stuff, man. So, and then I thought it was really shitty. He comes into it almost thinking like, oh, I'm going to destroy the character so everyone hates it and I'm going to flip it around. Yeah, but not for the fucking amount of money you put in this film,
Right. Yeah.
So I have a feeling it was made during that weird time period, right, when they'd already greenlit it when James Gunn took over, so they couldn't like just cancel the fucking thing. Because I have a feeling with the way he's greenlighting stuff now, there's no way this movie would have.
Oh, they would have been
even for an Elseworld title, as they're calling them, right? So, yeah, it was just the pacing was so slow. There's so many times I looked over at Mikey, and I was just like, fuck, like. And you could tell the theater was just like, everybody in the theater was like, fuck, man, just end already, please, for the love of God.
That's like some people walked out, at the Metro.
Really?
Yeah.
We only paid like $1.50 for this fucking thing, and even I was like, fuck. Because I really liked the first one, 2019. I thought it was great how they did it, but I never thought they needed to do a sequel to it, honestly,
Mm-mm.
Like, it was pretty set with how it does it, and then the way that they played it out, even having like Lady Gaga in it, it doesn't add anything. It's just
no.
It's just really stupid, man. It was such a disappointing film. So
the first one was so good. I think that's what kind of like brought everybody up and like was excited about this one because the first one was so good, and the way it left the film, like you said, it didn't need a sequel, but they're making one, so like you get excited about it. I was excited.
Yeah,
about
and you
it.
don't think like maybe,
like I said, there's a way to destroy a character and still make a good movie. It's Godfather 2. He destroys the character of Michael Corleone, and it's still a really good movie. It's
I would
like
never mention these two films in the same fucking sentence.
No, but what I'm saying is like the intent would have been to make a good movie, and looks like the intent for this one is to make a shitty one, which is.
It almost seems like it, right? Especially the interview.
Like, I don't know, the fans or DC or something.
I was like, and truthfully, it made me like really not like Todd Phillips. Man, fuck you, Todd Phillips. Yeah. Truthfully, so hey, this 2025, new year, new us, right? It's gonna be a strong year. What is your most anticipated film, Mikey?
So I was really trying to pick Sinners, but I couldn't find myself to do it. But I picked Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. Is what I picked. We haven't seen anything from him that was really big scope in a long time. 2022, he came out with the Cabinet of Curiosities for Halloween. He had Pinocchio, right? But I'm ready for him.
Shape of Water won Best Picture.
2017 though, right? I'm ready for that another 2017 to happen for him. You know what I'm saying? I want a nice movie from him that it's going to be just
Maybe
a
the
good creature
Nosferatu is
feature.
wearing off on you, and you're like, it has to be good, right?
I mean,
Remember
it's possible.
last time they did a Dracula movie and then made a Frankenstein movie, didn't turn out so good.
It's got a good cast, though. I mean, it's Oscar Isaac, Mia Goth. So, I mean, I feel like it's going to be good overall. I think he's going to do a good job, and I think he can do a good job with his character.
Whiny voice.
So,
yeah, no, I agree. It once again, we haven't seen anything. I've seen screenshots. Obviously, those are the sets and everything. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that too. What about you, Marco?
My most anticipated film for 2025 is 28 Years Later.
Oh, good pick. That was almost on mine.
I cannot wait for that fucking movie. I'm super fucking juiced, and I hope it doesn't let me down.
It's like a part 1 from what I heard, right? There's another.
Oh, really?
I didn't know there's a part that's coming out afterwards. This is
28 decades later?
28 years later, The Bone Temple. Nice. What about you, Neville?
Oh, there were so many good ones that to look forward to, but
Mission Impossible?
Mission Impossible is one. Mickey
Smurfs?
17, 20 years later. So many good things. But
I think
I
the last
landed on Superman. I feel like I'm just like, I've got a lot of hope in this, and I love me some Superman. So, I think I really am hopeful that it's going to be really good, but I think with James Gunn in it, I'm expecting good things with it, and I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Almost picked that one.
That's my pick too, Superman.
Yeah.
So it's one of my most anticipated. This is really going to be the big launch. I really like Creature Commandos.
Yeah,
I think Creature Commandos is really fucking good. So
you talked me into that shit, dude. So I'm glad you did. This motherfucker, I almost tweeted this, made me care about a fucking 6 foot tall weasel character. I'm like, Superman's in good hands. If you can make me care about that, Superman's in good hands.
Yeah, I'm saying there's stuff that it's in canon right now. I think that's all been solid from him. Like, even I liked Peacemaker season 1, and
Peacemaker was great. Yeah. And there's a testament to James Gunn and like crafting his stories, and
that's really good with him.
Yeah. I think that this is a good path for them, and Superman is probably going to be.
Which theoretically, I guess Creature Commandos is a direct sequel to Peacemaker because of the events. So,
well, we're
and to the Suicide Squad too. So.
Yeah, that's right. So that is our podcast for our 2024 top 10 films. Good times.
What a year!
Yeah, a lot of. Like I said, I had a lot of fun. A lot of good movies. A lot of good stuff here.
Good experiences.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's half the fun in watching movies. Not just the storytelling; it's also what you get out of it. I think so. But yeah, end of the podcast. Appreciate you all listening. We look forward to what we have in 2025. Hope you guys are excited as well. We got some good stuff down the pipeline. So, Marco.
Thank you.